Hold up. I don't know if you can hear me yet. I forgot to plug my bloody microphone in. I'll do that for a second. People hear me? That now should be better. Here we go. G'day everyone. Let's get the chat up. Grind don't stop, that's right. Amusement Productions. G'day Jaden. We are back. I am doing a very random stream for the cricket. So diversifying a little bit the content. We've got 10 people in chat. Say g'day everyone. Hello. Yeah, I just thought I'd do a random live stream today. Obviously I like cricket. I've been making a bit of cricket content. Still on a bit of a buzz from winning the World Cup. So why not watch this game, which I'm going to watch anyway, and do it with you guys. This is the second T20 International. I missed the first one, but I know we lost. We made like 208. Inglis hit 100 and... Have I got the scorecard there? He hit 110 off 50. And we made 208 and we lost. Because Yadav made 80 off 42. True cricket, that's right, Richard. Jacob reckons the kits are horrendous. You reckon? You reckon? Well, I shall have a proper look, but I kind of like our dark green number. I don't mind it at all. I presume you mean ours. India's is kind of like their standard kit. I think it's nice. I'll look at ours properly. Good to see you all. I realise it's kind of late in Australia. Like I think it's 9:30 PM in Perth. And is it after midnight in Melbourne? Dear oh dear. Dear oh dear, I mean. Stornis opening the bowling. We've opted to bowl first here because of the fact that... hang on, I'm going to just do something over here. We've opted to bowl because I think we want the dew to impact their bowling later, is my understanding. There we go. That shouldn't impact the stream. Richard said, Game 1, India needed 8 off the last over. We got 3 wickets. That's right. I saw a bit of that. But they leveled the scores. Then Rinku hit a 6 off the last ball. Boy, oh boy. Yeah, I saw there was like 2 wickets in a row, I think. Somebody was on a hat-trick. Or maybe it was just a run-out. I can't remember. G'day, Chris. G'day, SML. Good to have you guys. 14 in the chat. Yeah, I realise this is a little bit late, but I'm kind of thinking like might diversify into a bit of cricket content over the summer. And the best way to start doing that is probably get a few lives going for T20s. Live streams for one days and tests, it's like, I don't think I have that in me. I mean, I could do like a bit a day, but I wouldn't be able to sit through a whole ODI for 8 hours or whatever it is. Jacob Richardson says, Indies is fine, don't love the green. Prefer when we wear black. I don't mind it. But the only thing with black, I think it looks good, but it's just not our national colours. So it feels weird to wear that a little bit. Whereas the green is actually true to Australian sports colours. That is a horrendous wide by Stoinis down the leg side, 9 for 7. It's kind of annoying because the stream I've got here is a few balls behind what I can see on the screen on the left here on Cricket Info. I've got the scores updating. So I can see it's 9 for 10 there and it's 9 for 7 here. I think it was Abbott, caught and bowled, then 2 ran out. It's beauty. Gotcha. So no on a hat trick then. Angus Healy says, hey, I know like nothing about cricket. G'day Angus, for a start. Can you tell me who's winning? Sure, mate. Well, it's very, very early. The thing about cricket, if you really are new to it, is that you can't really tell who's winning until like past halfway in the game. Because like India could either get a really good score or a really terrible score in their innings, but you don't know until both teams have batted for a bit why, like how good the pitch is. Apparently this is a tricky pitch, so I think if India scored 200 here, hypothetically, we would really struggle to chase that. It's interesting seeing Stoinis open the bowling. I haven't watched like BBL for years because he didn't bowl a lot in the World Cup, but it's interesting that he's a frontline bowler in the T20. Wonder why Behrendorff didn't play, was our best bowler last game. I'll have a look at the lineups, actually. We made a couple of changes, I think. I think Maxwell and Zampa, were they in, but they didn't play last game? I think that's what's happened. So Sangha stayed in, Zampa's in, Nathan Ellis and Abbott are the other bowlers. Tim David's playing, and Maxwell's in. So it might just be a rotation to just sort of test out different talents. Mind you, you've got Maxwell and Zampa coming in, which is hardly a rotation. They just played a World Cup. That's very true, Richard. That Headingley test was horrible. G'day, Rogie. Thanks for popping in, mate. I appreciate it anyway. Up the Aussies. Yeah, I'm actually unfamiliar with a lot of these guys. Like, I know Nathan Ellis by name. I know Tanveer Sangha. Is it Tanveer? Wasn't there a Jason Sangha? Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Tanveer Sangha, I don't know, but I might be his brother. Is Australia the favourite? So a different format. That was 50 overs, and this is 2020 overs. So 20 overs. So the games are much shorter, and we've got different teams in, different players with different attributes will play. And it's kind of such a random sport that there's hardly really favourites that often. Does that make sense? I'd say anytime in all these games, though, we probably start as underdogs because historically, we're not a really strong T20 team anyway, but we're also playing in India. So we're kind of underdogs in all these games, I would argue. But maybe someone in the comments can have a different opinion. For the record, like, I have dipped out of cricket so much, particularly since I started True Footy. Like, I've gone from a cricket nuffy to a very casual fan, but I'm starting to get back into it now. So, ooh, nice chase by Ellis. Nice dive, I should say. So, like, little things like knowing how good exactly some of these lesser-known Aussie players are, I'm learning. I knew everyone in the World Cup squad, though. That's more of an established team. They've all played BBL, so I do recognise them. I think Behrendorff got the most wickets. Yeah, well, as a Scorchers fan, I'm pretty familiar with Behrendorff. He's a gun. Nathan Ellis, was he Queensland? I want to guess he's from Queensland. Tanveer Sangha, I don't know too much about. Let's look him up. I presume he's a spin bowler. Yeah, leggies. Was he in the World Cup squad, or was he just sort of like... he was in India for the tournament. I saw him like running drinks and stuff. Jacob. The I don't fucking care series. True. NP's excited for Harley Reid, mate, next year for the Eagles. I know this is off topic. That's all right. This is more of a casual watch along. I'm not... like, if we want to bring up different stuff in the chat, cricket games have that sort of tempo to them where you can just talk. I'm excited too, though. Ellis was a Kane. That does sound a little bit familiar, actually, now that you say it. Again, I'm a little bit out of touch. Tanveer is a spinner, says Richard. Jason Sangha is a batter. They're not related. Interesting. Not too many Sangas have come through the cricketing system, and now we've got a couple of them. I kind of, assumed that there were. He's only 22, Tanveer. This will be the first time I've seen him play, Tanveer Sangha. I would have seen Ellis play before in the BBL, because I definitely know his name. I just don't really remember that much about him. But this is a good sort of like platform to test out new up-and-coming Australian cricketers. Because, let's be real, a lot of these games are meaningless. They're just kind of fun to watch. I like the green kit. I like us in dark green. I think for World Cups and stuff, though, in particular, you got to have like the bright canary yellow. That's our signature kit. I would keep that, but just saying for contrast. I did like the black too, though. Does the black one have a bit of... Well, actually, I think both kits now have a bit of, like, indigenous artwork on them now. I'm not very observant. If that wasn't obvious, I'm going to switch this camera around a little bit. Yeah, right, Jake. That's great. Speaking of the BBL, something that frustrated me is the squads are difficult to figure out for each season. Reckon they need to make them more visible. Okay, so like playing lists going into a new season, I presume that's what you mean. It's not like something you can just easily Google, like AFL. I presume that's what you mean. When does a BBL start? Has it started? I'm pretty sure the BBL women's is on at the moment. I see that everywhere. Well, it definitely is. So maybe they're back-ending that. Because maybe I'll do a few BBL live streams depending on time zones. If people are enjoying it. But at the moment, I'm unemployed. Which is why you're getting 3 videos in a live stream today. I must admit, if anyone actually noticed, I uploaded 3 videos today and I'm doing a live stream. But that was an accident. I meant to stagger them and they all came out today. I woke up and I was like, what? Oh, well. Now I've got to work. After this, I haven't done them yet, but I have to do 2 videos for tomorrow. Grumpy says, cricket stream, wowee. Yes, that's right. We're in the off-season, baby. I thought, I don't know, at the moment, right, I'm in this particular phase of True Footy where it's actually paying my rent and other, on stuff on top of that. So I could get a job, and that is the right thing to do. But it's like, if I can get through December and January just making content and be able to pay my rent, and then I can just launch into next year, I don't necessarily have to get a job. Imagine that. That would be crazy. Maxwell into the attack. Ball's a horrendous wide first ball, and it's runs. They've run one as well. So 15 off 2 overs. BBL's December 7th. That is good. I could work with that. I could potentially make some BBL content. I don't want to become a footy and cricket channel, but I obviously need something to plug the gap for 2 months. I do like cricket, and I feel like I could do an okay job of it in terms of a BBL series, and covering a World Cup, because I was genuinely invested. I wouldn't want to do something where I'm taking the piss. I'm a huge Liverpool fan. I arguably like Liverpool more than I do the Australian cricket team, but I just know that I couldn't talk about it. I played reasonable level cricket, so I can talk about cricket provided I'm watching it. Thanks for those clarifying, that it's December 7th. That's a good result. Could do a BBL predictions. If I do a BBL predictions, great ball by Maxwell. I would need to do some research. I can't just raw dog that. But that could be fun. Try to figure out the Renegade squad and all I can find was a paywall article. Oh, that's rough. I actually have no idea. That's a good shot, by the way. I've kind of neglected this game. That's a good shot by Jayswell. What was I saying? Oh, I completely forgot what I was saying there. Sorry. Petra, g'day Petra, says part-time work. Yeah, I could look at that, but I'm also 30 now, and I feel like I'm past that. But that's stupid. You're right though. I should do something like that. Work at a pub or something. Did you play cricket growing up? If so, will you play there during the British summer? Yeah, I did play cricket growing up. When I grew up in Abu Dhabi, I played at this big academy, which was handy because there's not a lot of cricket played in the Middle East, but there's a lot of Indians and Pakistanis that live there. So there is it is a subculture in itself. But the good thing was, because there was not enough people for a big league, what they did was they just formed a big academy, and the coaches had played in World Cups for the UAE before and stuff. So I sort of fell into this high level academy and played against touring teams from Auckland. We played Auckland's, probably not their actual representative team, but they were a good whatever team from Auckland, all under 19 stuff. I played against Scotland under 16s. I was meant to play India under 16s, which would have been amazing, but they pulled out of whatever tour they were doing. So got some opportunities there. Scorchers back-to-back, baby. See, it's funny, I'd forgotten that the Scorchers won the BBL. I'm that much of a casual fan. But, I was going to say, I wonder what BBL does on YouTube, views-wise? Just out of curiosity. Might be something to tinker with. I'd imagine it doesn't have a huge following, but who knows? I don't know. Catch me if you can, dog. What is the answer to that? Grumpy Goron asked who I played for. So I played for Abu Dhabi, basically, for their academy. We went to like Newcastle area, Durham, in 2008, and we played an under-16s tournament. I was 14, and we played against a men's team, a team called Anik. We might have won the game. That's how silly that was. If we didn't win, we were close, which was ludicrous. But I played with some really talented players. Like one of my teammates got picked in the actual T20 World Cup squad for the UAE. Another one could have, but they both played for the UAE under-19s, and they both played in the game where they beat England under-19s in a 50-over game. And then one of them has moved to Melbourne to pursue whatever. Cricket amongst uni studies, I believe. But he was just unreal. I know I'm rambling here, but just one final point. He was the wicket keeper. I was the opening bowler. I was a fast bowler. And he kept up to the stumps. Like, he was just such a good wicket keeper. And I wasn't quick, but I did swing it. And he would just keep... Like, he would get stumpings off me as the opening bowler. He was seriously talented. G'day, Hunsey. Emperor's Org says, yeah, every year I watch the Scorchers and there's people I've never heard of in the squad and you never know where they came from. That's true. I feel like, particularly when I used to watch the Scorchers, like early days of the BBL, it felt like we'd always just regenerate with these random youth players I hadn't heard of, and then they'd become guns. I feel like Hilton Cartwright became a pretty good player. Is it Craig Simmons? I mean, he was a bit of a one-hit wonder, but he was one... If I'm thinking of the right guy, he hit like a 40-ball century in the final or something. Either way, we have De Kock for the Renegades. That's a big 6. While I've been talking shit, India are 46 for none. 3 4s and a 6. I literally just tuned out of the game for 5 minutes to talk about myself. Yeah, Rogie, I was a bowler and I batted about 8. One Day Bees, Rolly Stone, Carragullen? Carragullen, I haven't even heard of that. Rolly Stone is in Perth. Is that where you live, Grumpy? Unless there's multiple Rolly Stones. Carragullen, never even heard of it. India are going to make 240 here. Oh, yeah. There's nothing more emasculating as a fast bowler than keep going. Oh, mate, I agree. But he was good. I took a double hat-trick in our under-19s final. It was an inter-school final. And that sounds glorious. And to be fair, 2 of them were good Yorkers. But the first one was a leg side wide that he got a stumping off. The second one was a ball outside off stump that the player, for whatever reason, stepped out of his crease and he got stumped. So I was on a hat-trick of 2 stumpings. Of 2, like, one terrible ball, one okay one. And then I happened to follow up with 2 perfect Yorkers after that. I was pretty lucky. Hilton Cartwright is married to my former Year 9 science teacher. Wow. There you go. That is a fun fact. I used to see him at Bunnings a bit. Hi, Lily. Hunsey says, only cricket flexes that my brother was good mates with Todd Murphy. Oh, there you go. In Echuca? Is that what it's called? Bit of a production line of talent. Is that where Todd Murphy's from? Cooper Connolly walked out to Optus and no one knew him, but we do now. That's a good point. Good example. I forgot about Cooper Connolly. It's just a name I haven't thought about since that game. 52 off 4 overs. Abbott goes for 24 of his first over. Wow. Call me an all-rounder the way I'm not very good at bowling or batting. Just stick me at 7. Yeah. I bat at 11 and don't bowl. When does the first test between Australia and Pakistan start? I actually don't know. I can look it up for you, but the chat's been pretty informative, so I wonder if somebody could beat me to it. Yeah, Perth. I played for Canning Vale as a junior. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, not too far from where I was. I was like Melville, Brentwood, Cardinia way. So just down South Street. Darth Jar Jar, welcome mate, says we need a wicket ASAP. That is an understatement. Xantha into the attack in the power play. Oh yeah, for those asking who probably missed me say before, I played for Abu Dhabi. Before that, I played in Bunbury. And I played a bit of rep cricket for Bunbury in under 14s. That's gone 4. I was a decent cricketer at that age. I got better when I went to the academy. But while I played for Bunbury A grade, there was several players way better than me. I played cricket with Sam Whiteman. He's from Bunbury. He was a year above me at school. I played like 4 school with him. And then in terms of actual cricket, he was the grade above. And then I think he just started playing seniors like from 15 or whatever. But he was the guy. His brother Alex is the lead singer for a band called Great Gable, who have been on Triple J's, Like a Version. That's his brother. Alex was a year below me. Mate, you've never played at Carragullen Kangaroo Shit Oval? I have not. Never even heard of it. December 14th. There you go, Lily. That'll be good. Definitely follow that. One of my best mates is from Pakistan. So hopefully we get a win. You West Aussies should buy all the Teague Willie. Teague, is it Willie or Wiley? I know that name. Teague Wiley? Teague Willie. I gotta stop saying Willie on this channel. God. The score is blowing out, am I right? This is insane. This is meant to be a tricky pitch to bat on. Oh, that's a great shot too. Rogie nominates Braden George for the Rising Star. I did think about mentioning him, but then he was kind of in this list of players that if I mention Braden George, I'll probably have to mention another 10 players, and the video just blows out. He did cross my mind, though, but I thought compared to some of the top 10 of this year, he was certainly tiers below, in likelihood, from the outside looking in. But I agree that he's talented. Thank you, Richard. It's pronounced Wiley. Hunsey, where were you? Were you in Dubai or Qatar? I presume you were just connecting. I used to connect through Dubai a lot because my family was there when I'd go to Europe, but now I go Qatar. I have no family in the Middle East anymore. Jesse prefers his sausages to Willies. I do prefer sausages to actual Willies. You heard it here first. G'day, Mish. Have you been down south yet in England? I live in Plymouth. Plymouth Argyle. I have been south. I'm not exactly sure where Plymouth is in relation to like London, but I've been to Brighton and I've been to London. I'm trying to think where else south I've been. Everywhere else is pretty north, actually. Lily says Australia has easy summer, Pakistan and West Indies. It's true, not to be disrespectful to Pakistan, but I don't think they've ever beaten us in a test in Australia. They beat us in a test. I'm not sure about in Pakistan, but I remember them beating us in England. I think at Lords, where we played that neutral series. Yeah. But they're not a bad team. You're right, though. It's not like playing like India or England. But, Babar Azam, he got a double 100 against us, I feel like, last year. My timelines are all skewed. My brain is just, I'm trying to cram it with football stuff, and as a result, cricket knowledge has fallen out. South Coast next to Cornwall. Oh, nice. That's a pretty nice part of the country, isn't it? Oh, Petra knows as well. Yeah, I've been advised to go down that way. I just haven't really had the chance yet. Pat Kaz says they almost beat us once but fixed it, so they lost. Did they? I think they beat us in Dubai when Marnus debuted. Okay, there you go. Don't remember that. There you go, Mish. Or you're always disappointed. This T20 International is going a little El Stinko, but geez, some good shots. Ellis had a good first over. Hunsey's pop is from Cornwall. Petra says I did some work in Cornwall about 15 years ago. There you go. What were you doing in Cornwall, if you are comfortable sharing? 10 fours in 5 overs. That is insane. On top of at least 2 sixes. That is insane. Glass half full, mate. That's it. Oh, the Ashes was just such a ball ache this year. Like, I know we actually played well in patches and we were 2-all. But I've never seen Australia win a series in England. Because I started watching cricket in 2002. And our last series win there was 2001. And my first Ashes series that I saw us play in England was 2005. After we beat them 4-1. And then we beat them 5-0 after that. And then we go to England and we lose again. Have we had 2 drawn series in England? I think. Was it like 15, 16? Did we draw that? I think we did. I could be wrong. We either drew or lost. We certainly didn't win. Should Darwin and Canberra and Gold Coast have Big Bash teams? I don't see why not. Like, so when considering where AFL teams should go, like, what I always say is, like, can you keep players there? But I don't think that will apply to the Big Bash because they're getting a pay packet to just go somewhere else. Like, I don't think that will apply. You could easily have, like, I don't know, David Warner played for Darwin for 2 months. I guess it's just about how many people go to games in Darwin for a start. Oh, this is unreal. None for 75. Muzzy says, have exams at school tomorrow. Got any advice for you? Well, if your exams are tomorrow, it's too late to tell you to study. Probably what I used to do is just go through each question and look at how many marks they're worth, and that's how much time you allocate to each question, if that makes sense. So if you've got 40 marks on an exam and one of the questions is 8 marks, then you know that you've got to spend 20% of your time on that question. Did I do the math right there? Yes, I did. Nailed it. Engineering nonsense, says Petra. There you go. Do you still live in the UK? Bro's already on 50. He could literally get a couple hundred. What is the highest score in a T20 international? By individual. Hunsey says, I only found out that my pop played 4 games for Watford. What, really? Huh. What kind of player was he? English have such a strange relationship with their media. Either call themselves the greatest team ever or the worst team ever. That's so true. That is so true. Man, you were old watching cricket in 2002, blood. I was only born in 2001. Yeah, when I moved to Australia in 2002, that summer, like end of 2002, I think Australia were playing the Windies. And I remember being on TV and Dad was explaining it to me. And then I think... No, that must have been like middle of the year. Because 02-03 was an Ashes series. And I watched that Ashes series. That was where I was won over. Oh, there's a wicket, apparently. You guys are a bit ahead of me. Hey, caught at third man, or short third man. After a couple of wides. And it's Jayswell, the wicket taker. I love how look so dejected. But they're 1 for 77. Like in the crowd, they look gutted. Thanks, Mish. Appreciate that. Yeah, very regular at the moment. Very regular. Almost too regular. Finch, I think, with 172. That rings a bell. Is that the highest ever? That's crazy. I was in Greece for grand final weekend. I was slightly more kind to the early Sunday 7 a.m. start. Yeah. Where were you in Greece? 172 off 76 balls. I think I kind of remember that. There you go, Hunsey, 5'6". Yeah, well, 5'6", if it was your grandfather, was probably a centre back then. Nah, it could be a midfielder, yeah. Lily says, since 99, India and the West Indies have only played two teams. It's the only two teams that have won the World Cup. Rest of the time it's been Australia. What about England? England won it in 2019. When did the Windies win it? I don't think they've won it since 99, have they? 99 Australia, 03 Australia, 07 Australia, 11 India, 15 Australia. Yeah, so it's India in England. Finch has two of the top three highest T20 international scores. Wow. Yeah, so it could be the other one that I remember. Was one of them in against England? Power play's over. Man, that was an expensive over. 3 wides and 3 boundaries. The other bloke's on 15. Kishan's on 0 off 1 ball. It's funny, before Maxwell's 200, right? I remember thinking that earlier that day, I feel like it was Steve Waugh, who was my favourite player as a kid. Yeah, I'm old. Steve Waugh said that Adam Gilchrist will be the first cricketer in the world to hit a double century in a one-day game. Obviously, it's happened heaps. Rohit, 264. Sachin was the first, wasn't he? He hit 200. Martin Guptill had 237. There's been a few. I think Rohit's hit multiple. But I was thinking literally the day before Glenn Maxwell's 200, I was thinking, when will we get the first Australian one? Who would have thought it'd be a middle order batsman? I sure am, Hunsey. I'm a bad man. Good fielding there from, is that Zampa? Or Smith? I couldn't even see. Is Smith playing? You can really tell I'm not true cricket. He is playing. That was Smith. When Maxwell collapsed, I expected him to retire. Absolutely. I think we all did. That was one of the most bizarre things ever. Like, watching that game. That's the benefit of being in England. It was all... Oh, good ball by Sanger. I actually haven't really been paying attention to him yet. But that was a good ball. Yeah, just the drama of that game was unreal. He looked like he was going to retire like 3 times. Maxi's the first non-opener to do it. That's true, Pat. Yeah. Great ball by Sanger there. Does Sanger have like a, test potential? Or is he like a limited overs bowler like Zampa? He's only 22, so he's got a lot of time. Was it, Lily? Phil Hughes anniversary. God, I remember that. That was so sad. That really affected me. That was horrible. Cheers, Rogie. Also, I am the Senate. Do it. All right, mate. Catcher, thanks for tuning in. Master Yoda, you've survived. Maxwell would have slept like a baby. Yeah. Slept through the next game, probably. That's true. The first ODI double 100 is an Australian women's player, Belinda Clark, against the Dutch in 1997. That was a long time ago. My God, I didn't realise it was that long ago. But I knew there was a female century. I just didn't see it, so it doesn't come to mind. I actually really like watching women's cricket. I don't get a lot of access to it. I barely watch men's, but I find it quite watchable, and have done for like 20 years. I mean, obviously, when you compare it to AFLW, it's been going a lot longer. So they are better at the sport. So that makes sense. The skill level's higher. I don't know. What I do watch though is I always watch the reels highlights of BBLW or is that what it's called? I think it's BBLW, isn't it? Forgive me. I'm a very casual cricket fan. Yeah, I always love watching the highlight reels of the BBLW and stuff. That's how I consume my cricket. It's just Insta reels. Good shot by Kishan. Zampa looped that up a little bit. Tim David's another Perth scorcher that came from nowhere, isn't he? WBBL. Thank you, Jacob Richardson. As I was saying it, I was like, that feels wrong, but I actually can't remember what the actual thing is. Chloe Paparo. That's a player that she probably wouldn't even remember me. When I said I played for Bunbury, rep cricket, she was in the team. I think she's potentially a year younger than me. So she didn't play in my team, but she was playing with the boys naturally back then. And yeah, good player. It's good to see her succeeding. One for 86, my God. I think Tim David has dual citizenship. He used to play for Singapore. Is that right? I did not know that. Coming up with a lot of facts here, Richard. Appreciate it. Really adding to the stream. Singaporean, eh? You know Ryan Campbell? Was it Singapore or Hong Kong? No, Hong Kong Ryan Campbell played for. Lily's got a couple of questions. Is Travis Head the next Australian Test captain? And should Todd Murphy play this summer? One at a time. I actually have no idea if Travis Head is a good leader or a good captain. Who's the vice captain? I really don't even know. But he is becoming a pretty world-class player, actually, to be honest, Travis Head. As for Todd Murphy, this summer, I don't know. I suppose it'll depend on the wickets. Sydney's traditionally the most turning pitch, right, in Australia. And Adelaide, maybe? I think it's Sydney first and then maybe Adelaide. So there's a chance he comes in as a second spinner. But yeah, only in those tests. I wouldn't imagine we pick two spinners for Boxing Day. Hansi's decorating his room. What are you doing to it, mate? By the way, I was listening to your song again today. Plug your song in here, Hansi. Wow, Richard. I didn't realise that. How many tests has Glenn Maxwell played? He's definitely played tests, right? I feel like he played in India. As a second spinner. I feel like his bowling has actually come a long way lately. Limited overs bowling anyway. He had a very good economy rate in the World Cup. Bowled a lot of dots. How good is Lance Collard? He's a jet. He's a jet. Electrifying talent. Hopefully he harnesses it, but only after 3 years when he goes back to West Coast. He'll probably pick Fremantle, let's be honest. He was part of West Coast NGA, but I think he's a Fremantle fan, so we'll see. You reckon, Richard? One of the greatest what-ifs. I feel like he's I could just look some of this up for myself. Bear with me. I feel like his first class career wasn't bad. Like with the bat. There you go. Huntsy's just dropped his song. Go check it out. It's a tune. I was listening to it at the gym. Okay, his test average is 26 from 14 innings, but he's got a century. Probably played those in India too, right? First class record was 39.49, so not too compelling considering his bowling average of 41. So yeah, don't know. But sometimes like players actually get better as they go up a level. What's the latest with Will Pucovski? He's considered a bit of a wonder kid. Sugar Enthusiast says up the Harley. That's it, mate. Very good stuff. Already looking forward to seeing him play round one. I'd love to see him with the headband and long sleeves. Even though it's such a non-West Coast thing to do. Other than Petrevsky-Seaton, I don't think we've had long sleeves other than like Brent Staker before that. David Haynes had long sleeves. I don't recall other than that. By the way, thank you guys for being in the chat. If you don't mind liking the stream, help me in the algorithm. That would be muchos apreciados. Do you think Cam Green will play first test? Who's he competing with for that spot? Maybe Richard could actually offer that. I would imagine he's probably... I would have thought he'd be the best all-round option we have. Like, is Mitch Marsh really in the frame? He has had a really good... He had a really good World Cup. I wouldn't mind seeing him into the team. The other one's Maxwell, I guess. But I don't know if we'd go for the second spinner in most of those tests. Because he's been playing Vic Premier League or Premier Cricket for Melbourne, haven't kept up with Sheffield Shield though, so not sure if he's been playing for Vic. Let's have a look at the Sheffield Shield. I had a little look at how it was going a week ago, maybe. Where is it? Him and Marsh for a spot, says Richard. Okay, cool. So my instincts there were somewhat on point. And I'm trying to find Sheffield Shield stats. St Kilda will have some father-sons in 25 and 26. There you go, Jude Del Santo and Hunter Hayes. Wow. Sons of two absolute guns. I wonder if they're any good. Do you know if they're any good, Lily? I suppose it's too early to know exactly how good. But, yeah. I was thinking the other day, St Kilda haven't really had any father-sons, have they? Bailey Rice, was he one? I don't think I remember any other St Kilda father-sons. Sean Abbott got smacked in his first over. He's into the attack and well saved on the boundary. Will Bancroft get a test gig? He's the leading run scorer so far. Bo Webster is also playing well. I don't know anything about Bo Webster. Tremaine's average is good. Swepson even. McAndrew. G'day, Pommy. Good to see you, mate. G'day, Brandon. Good to have you in the chat. Son of North Melbourne champion, Nick Del Santo. Exactly. Oh, the cricket's going poorly. So I kind of got distracted. I'm looking at the best performed players in the Sheffield Shield. Chris Tremaine, he hasn't played Test, has he? He's just played one day as... Or ODIs, rather. Evening or good morning. That's it, mate. Well, it's 2:17 p.m. and believe it or not, the sun is starting to go down. So I think the sun's setting just before 4 o'clock now. Like 3:50. Horrendous. The other night, last night I went to the gym and my face was hurting. This was like 6 p.m, pitch black. My face was hurting and I was like, why is it so cold? I looked down, it was -1. I'm not built for the cold weather. I grew up in the Middle East. Oh, Hunsey's got a new track that should be coming out within the next 2 weeks. Awesome. Let us know when it comes out, Hunsey. So if there was any doubt about India getting 200, it has quickly evaporated. 4:30 p.m. sunsets now, yeah. Oh, we've gone past that today. I'll have a look. I think yesterday's, now I think about it, was 3:58. What's today's? Oh, today's is 3:58. Sunrise at 7:53. We're forecast for snow on Thursday. I've never seen it snow from the sky before. I've been in mountains and seen snow, but I've never seen it snow as a verb. So that's something to look forward to. Look forward to coming home and waking up in pitch black. Oh, God. Luckily, I don't have a car here. Don't have to worry about that. Ooh. Pubs still close early? No. At least not in Macclesfield. There's a massive drinking culture here, which is probably not unique. But last night I was walking past, and it was a Saturday night last night, and there were people willingly sitting outside at -1 degrees. No heaters. Girls, just like, and wearing like probably about what I'm wearing now, like a hoodie. Some of them wearing skirts. Mind you, they were just walking around. But the ones sitting down were not like wearing puffer jackets or anything. I saw a bloke in shorts today, and it was just 2 or 3 degrees. It's gotten out to 5 now. It's a stinker. So hot. Pommy says you'll make me miss it. How long have you been away, Pommy, and how often do you go back? Whereabouts are you from? You're from Yorkshire, right? I'm just not sure exactly where. Thanks, Brandon. Appreciate that. Those are kind words. 24/7 licenses in most places now. Petra back home. Jesse needs to find the bars that do lock-ins. Local lock-ins are where it's at. Yeah, what is that again? Is that where is that where they close but they don't let you in or out? Something like that. I'm not that much of a drinker. That's crazy. Actually, my roommate told me a story once. He unwillingly got locked in a bar once because he passed out in the bathroom. He just woke up in the middle of the night. How fucked was that? That is terrible. Keeping my voice down because you can probably hear me. Mate, get a Greg's sausage roll and a cuppa and you'll wear singlets in 2 degrees days. Mate, I am all about Greg's. I go to Greg's literally every day for my morning coffee. It's the cheapest coffee in town. Because coffee is weirdly expensive here. It's like, to get a regular coffee at Costa, it costs the equivalent of about $7.70. But you go to Wetherspoons, the pub chain, and you get a pint for $5. I'm in England, Alexander. Shutters down, it's just locals, like a house party. Usually there's a jar to pay so they don't break a law. Okay. What does the jar do? I'm confused. I get the logic behind it, but I'm not sure exactly why the jar. Is it that's where they put their cash so it doesn't go through the till? I don't know. Where in the Middle East did I live? I lived in Abu Dhabi for 5 years, from 14 to 19. Whitby in Yorkshire, not often going back. Not often going back next year. Lattes in UK especially are basically more milk. Yeah. Yeah, the coffee's not great from Greg's, I won't lie, but at £1.90, that's my choice. Ah, I see. There you go, Pommy. I get it. Surely it would be fairly obvious, though, if the cops come in. But if the shutters are down, yeah, weird. Hard to get my head around that. What's the story with train fares across England? Ridiculously high. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a point of reference to, like, I don't know what it used to be, but kind of. Yeah, so I live in Mac, which is about 20 minutes on the train to Manchester. So whenever I go there, it costs me like anywhere between $10, so £5 on the cheapest times, but more often than not, it's more like $20 and £10, which I thought was good until I explained that to someone. And then I realised 20 minutes on the train in Perth just gets me from Bull Creek to the city, which should not cost you $20. So it is kind of exorbitant. I understand it's technically like a cross-country train, not a metro, but still. It is like a 40-minute drive, to be fair. I just get a sugar-free Blue V and call it a day. God, I can't do energy drinks. Oh, is that right, Bommy? That's sick. Yeah, surely there's bigger issues than people just having a drink. But I suppose it leads to other problems. England has a lot of players in their team who are not British. Is that still the case? I know, like, historically, yeah, lots of South Africans in particular. I mean, to what extent they're British, I don't actually know. It's not for me to say. But it's funny when their accents are still South African. Like Jonathan Trott. KP's accent's South African, isn't it? Yeah. Who else? Like Owen Morgan, obviously, is Irish. I've lost track. I'm trying to think who else in their team is not British. One for 103, run rate 9.97. We'd love a bit of a collapse here from India. Ben Stokes from New Zealand. I forgot about that, actually. You're right, Lily. I did remember that. But I'm not sure how long he's lived in England. I mean, we got Marnus, I suppose. South African, right? Toilets are your saviours on trains, Jesse. You can drink beers, and you can drink beers on the train. But legit, Glasgow to London, just go to the toilet, they'll never knock. Is this, you mean like, get on without paying? Is that what you mean? It's true though, that makes sense. Beer is actually quite good in England. I was surprised at the quality and taste. Yeah, beer's good here. It's also, I was advised that they serve hot beers here before I got here. Well, I've been here a bunch of times, but before I came here, like 2019, that's not true. It's chilled beer. I don't know if it's as cold, but Mo Ali, yeah, I mean, like, is he Pakistani or Indian? They've been in like Britain for so long that they're kind of part of the population now. Like, there's so many second generation Indians and Pakistanis that it kind of counts, I think. But I don't know where he was born specifically. G'day, the playlist guy. There you go, Pommy. That's what I thought you meant. Hey, buddy. Jofra Archer. That's true, actually. I forgot about Jofra Archer. Is he still around the scene? Probably not. He was a menace in, was it 2019 Ashes? Or more recent than that. I think it was 2019. He was very difficult for us to manage. Oh, it's just ale that's served at room temp. I see. Gotcha. I've heard the warm beer thing is more about that it's so cold in the UK that you don't always need to shave. I've read that as shave. Have your beers in the fridge. True. No, I'm sure people were telling me that they just, like, out of the tap pints were not chilled. But yeah, that's not true in my experience. They're lovely. Jofra Archer has had ongoing elbow injuries. There you go. That sucks for England. He's a very difficult bowler to face. With those, like, unusual actions, I feel like it's so hard to play against that. Bumrah is another one. It just looks so weird coming at you. Moeen Ali was born in Birmingham. People forget UK is the most multicultural country in the world. Yorkshire, where I'm from, has huge Indian Pakistani roots. Yeah, that's true. Like, I think if Moeen Ali was born in the UK, then I probably wouldn't discount him. Owen Morgan, on the other hand, like, is he just not Irish? I think he qualifies because maybe he played county cricket. Maybe Pommy knows better. I'm sure he does. Knows more than I do on that.
Didn't he come over here when he was like 14?
Who's that, sorry?
Ian Morgan. He played for like a school.
Oh, is that right?
So like, he qualifies because he's here.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, he was still playing for Ireland, like, not that long ago. Like, no, I want you to clarify. Yeah, no.
Are you doing cricket?
Yeah, it's cricket, yeah.
About what?
Hey?
About what?
Oh, Australia's playing India.
Yeah.
It's going poorly. Yeah, it's a different series. It's T20s.
Really?
Yeah.
You already beat them.
I know. You'd think we would just cancel cricket once we've beaten them.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a huge 6. It's a common POM joke to tell people we knew beer to overseas people. Loads of Americans I knew during golf were shocked that English pubs had fringes. Really? Well, I felt for that. Thoughts on Watto going to the Hawks? Yeah, it was an interesting one to wonder which club would pick a small forward in the top 5 or 6. Apparently North were considering it, but ultimately went with Dersma. Bit less risky, just because Watson's so small, but he has potential to be a star. I hope you're right, Samuel. I hope you're right. I think he'll be a slow burn. I think he might be like 22 when he starts coming real good, but yeah. Brummer's action is painful to watch. Jofra Archer just casually jogs in and then bowls 145. Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to get a head around. Oh, is this a chance? No. No, it wasn't, though. So India well and truly on track for 205 plus, I'd say here. At least says Jofra played for the under-19s World Cup for Windies, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we discovered it in the BBL, right? That's where he got a profile, and then he got picked for England. Ireland players via the ICC prior to Ireland being test status was they could switch over as Ireland is north as south as a joint island side. Okay. Yeah, I think I've got my head around that. So Ireland's just test status would now change that. That's also what you're saying, Pommy? That will make sense. I think it's 4 years you got to wait in between representing countries too. Like Roelof van der Merwe. Owen Morgan. There's been a few players who have played for 2 countries in World Cups, I reckon. I just can't remember them. Maybe not specifically in World Cups. Michael Devenuto played for Italy. I saw him play live for Italy. Weird game. Australia won the Ashes and the World Cup the same year. Oh, 07? Stokes Archer will educate in the UK. It's like half of Australia's rugby players are Samoan or Kiwi. True. People also forget UK owned 1/3 of the world, so our reach is huge. It's true. Bangladesh players played for India and Pakistan during the 80s. I didn't know that. I did know that a lot of Pakistan's team through like 2005 onward to like 2015, like Shahid Afridi and I want to say Yunus Khan and a few other types, like big players, they were Afghanistani, but they couldn't play for Afghanistan. I think it was like 4 key players for them. Do I think Ari Schoenmaker slid so far in the draft because it was suspension? I've heard multiple theories. I do think his lack of set position and maybe a lack of athleticism probably also was a factor there. We saw the same thing happen to Ollie Murphy. But he does have weapons. NP says, this is looking like a thrashing. Well, you never know in cricket until the other team bats. But yeah, it doesn't look good. I mean, we were 3 for 208 in the first game. Sanga's actually had a pretty good little game here. He got 2 for 47 in the first game. He's none for 12 off 16 balls here. Another single. KP is a dodgy one. That was through the work visa program, which personally I don't agree with. For me, if you're educated like Ben Stokes speaks, like my accent, he's more pom than most. Yeah, fair call. What about Jonathan Trott? Because his accent was very South African too. Oh, he's gone large on Sanga's last ball of the over. Oh, Ellis dives. Almost gets a hand on it, but good boundary. Big end to an otherwise very good over. I'll just get a drink of water, lads. Oh, that was not an old man groan. Back, baby. India used to be my second team. Now it's Australia. Interesting. But Yorkshire has a proud link with India. Sachin was our first ever overseas player in the 90s. Wow. When is the next T20 World Cup is a great question. I'm going to look that up because I'm curious. 2024. Oh, and the Windies and the United States. That's kind of cool. Well, we had one in the UAE. So the States would be cool. 20 participants is a great call. The T20 World Cup should be bigger than the ODI World Cup. Oh, has it already got all the teams qualified already? Oh shit, it's only next year, of course. So teams in the T20 World Cup include Kenya, Namibia, Oman, Nepal, Canada. Canada's a team I haven't seen in the World Cup since like 07 or even 03. Oh, definitely in 03. I just can't remember if they're in 07. Papua New Guinea. Ireland will be there. as well as your other usual suspects. Oh, and the USA team. That's sick. I wonder if they'll have like a little mini tournament beforehand. You know, they have like pools to qualify for the next round. Nah, 4 groups of 5. Beautiful. So you will see potentially like India versus USA. I love that.
It makes it interesting.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to get absolutely slapped, but
No, but that'd be fun to watch, though.
it will be, yeah. As if we play India within a week of a World Cup final, yeah. Bit of a mix-up in teams, though. Big 6 and then a 4. 1 for 137, as Petra points out. Maxwell bowling pies, as Petra also points out. Anyone seen the American T20 club comp? It's mental. Like pure American live music, etc. Reckon the World Cup the host would be sick. That would be awesome. I'd love to go to it, actually. I've got a sister in America. I can probably make that work. I wonder what the crowds will be like. I don't know. It'll say the venues because it's also in the Caribbean. Oh, going to the Caribbean for a World Cup would be sick. This is next year. Shit. I keep thinking it's like years away. It's next summer.
What is
The T20 World Cup in America and the Caribbean. Venues. Okay, so it's got a whole host of them. Okay, there's 3 American venues. Grand Prairie Stadium, capacity 7,000. I've completely taken my eye off the cricket here. Is that another 6? This is brutal. Central Broward Park, capacity 20,000. Eisenhower Park Stadium. So Eisenhower Park Stadium is in New York. Dude, that's not far from Haley. It's in Manhattan. Oh, that'd be so cool. You'd probably get some pretty small games there, though. You wouldn't get Australia versus India there. That'd be pretty sick. Then there's one in Lauderhill in Florida and a third one in Texas. Man, I'm actually so tempted to go. I have no money, but I have a lot of enthusiasm. China or Nigeria in the World Cup? I have never seen Nigeria associated with the cricket team. I'm not sure about China either. I could be wrong on China. Oh my god. That was a absolute fart explosion of a no ball from Glenn Maxwell. Americans have gone mental with the money in cricket. Liam Plunkett had a visa issued as they are trying to snag ex-internationals to bolster their squad. That's so good. I need to look more into this, Pommy. Pommy, forgive me if I've asked you this. Do you have a Premier League team? I feel like I've asked you about it before. What's Whitby close to in terms of like the landmark places to a non-English person would be like Bradford, Sheffield, Leeds, Huddersfield. Where's Whitby in relation to that? But yeah, I need to look more into this American T20 cricket thing. It's kind of exciting. One for 155. Man United, of course, I knew that. Yeah, when do they play? Like 4:30? I had it in my head. Maybe. Yeah, 4:30. Oh, that's hours away, Pommy. It's 2 hours away. Happy Liverpool got the 1 point at the Etihad. Is that another 6? Yeah, it is. Cool. Luton grabbed 3 points yesterday against Crystal Palace. Chelsea have been a real mixed bag lately. Mostly bad. But they beat Tottenham 4-1, I think.
Yeah, I think we got that 10-point deduction.
Everton got 10-point deduction.
Yeah.
I didn't even see that. What for?
Probably like financial fair play.
Oh, wow. Did Man City ever get anything for their financial fair play thing?
No, because we are all above board.
Oh, yes. It's funny that. G'day, Kev. Indian supporters are salty after we won the World Cup. I didn't actually notice that. Whitby Abbey is where Bram Stoker wrote Dracula, and the idea of Dracula is from Whitby, not Romania. Is that right? But York is the nearest major city. I went to York recently. I forgot about York and Hull. But between Hull and Newcastle, there you go. Interesting. Yeah, York is beautiful. I didn't really know what to expect. Wow, another 4. Oh no, fielded. I didn't know what to expect from York. I'd heard it's pretty. I kind of forgot people told me that. I went there and I was like, wow, this is actually a really beautiful place. I'd recommend people check it out if they're ever in the north of England. Adelaide United will win the A-League this year. Has the season started? I don't follow the A-League at all. I don't even have them as my... I have this app called FOTMob and you list the teams you support. This is crazy. And I've got Australia. I'm loosely following Wrexham because of that Netflix series. Macclesfield and Liverpool. Liverpool is my main team. Man City will get a slap on the wrist and Everton get to enjoy a championship. And people say the AFL is dodgy. Yeah. Very good call. Okay, so Everton are on 4 points. Mind you, they got a game in hand on Sheffield. They've obviously got to leapfrog Sheffield and Luton. Well, they're going to bank 3 points today, Everton. York's probably the best city in the world. Nothing like its history. Yeah, it's a beautiful place. I'd happily go back. I did a little trip recently. I went, checked out Leeds, checked out York, then went up to Newcastle, and then back in about 4 days. India is so cute when losing. I felt bad for the players. You can see there's a lot of pressure on them. And cricket is a religion over there. And to do it at home as well would have been pretty special. Which is evidently the only place they can win a World Cup. Saying that Everton probably won tonight versus my boys because that would be the most United thing ever. Yeah. Gee, Arsenal have backed it up again this year. Top of the league. I don't actually watch a lot of Prem. I watch more cricket, even though I prefer Liverpool and Prem as like the league and the team I support. But I kind of just follow it rather than watch it. The cricket, I watch it and don't follow it. Bommy reckons Stokes retires soon. Yeah, probably. Feels like he hasn't been around that long. I suppose it has been. So, as I currently see the screen, we're 1 for 164. Oh, it looks like there's a wicket. Yeah, I can see it pop up on the left there as Darth Jar Jar writes, yes. What's that?
What?
Oh.
I'm about to go.
Kev says, second time in my lifetime we've beaten India in the Cricket World Cup. Yeah, that's right. In a game or in the final? Like, we beat them in the final in 03. I don't remember us playing India in the 07 World Cup. Doesn't come to mind. I watched DVDs of that World Cup heaps, so that's why I'm trying to remember that actual game. In 2011, we lost to them. 2015, did we play them? Let's deep dive this. This stream's really about to kick up a notch. Where was India in the 2007 World Cup? They failed to get through. That's why we didn't play them then. In 2015. They topped their group. And we beat them. Okay, so we did beat them in the semi-final in 2015 as well. But yeah, beat them in a final, I presume you meant. Steve Bruce's son is coach of Macclesfield. Did you know that, Will?
No.
There you go. And you're my local team's League Whitby. There you go. Well, we've been talking about it, but at the moment it's 0 degrees. So realistically, we'll wait a few months. But we do want to go to a Mac game. I didn't know it was Steve Bruce's son coaching. That's sick. I did see Mac won like 6-1 or 5-1. 5-1.
See you, bitch.
See you, bitch. That, not you, chat. I'm talking about my roommate. Would you prefer to study in England where there is more of a campus feel about that place? Yeah, maybe. I mean, like, all things being equal. I mean, assuming in this place, like, in this case, I could have just got the government to pay it for me, and then I pay the government, like a HEX debt in Australia. Assuming I didn't have to pay my tuition, the UK would have been cool. I think it was important for me to go back and re-establish my Australian roots, so to speak. Though, because I hadn't been in Australia. Wow. Was that a 6? It is a big 6. So I don't know if I'd change it, but I think the actual uni experience probably would have been more fun, yeah. What is a Bovril, Pommy? I'm learning a lot about England and just in this live stream. That was a good 6. Yeah, Pommy, we've never done a video together. That's so weird. We do. I've been thinking about kickstarting the podcast back up again. And this is such a weird way to mention that to you. But if, assuming we do, it doesn't have to be a podcast, but if we do a True Footy podcast, it would be great to have you on. I forgot we hadn't collabed. It also occurred to me I haven't done a video with Terry either since 2020. I've been very, very insular, other than Drewzy. So I need to change that. Oh yeah, Mish, you said you're half and half, eh? Have you lived in Australia? Oh, slower ball, low full toss. Actually wasn't a bad ball from the eye test. What time is it in... Is it 1:50 a.m? No, that can't be right. Where you are, Pom. Is it 12:50? Is it 1:50 a.m? where you are? I'm trying to do that in my head. It's basically a drink of gravy. That sounds absurd, but oddly delicious. That would actually go down all right. Wow, Petra, 8 6s and 15 4s. Fours, not foreigns. That'd be great, Pommy. It's been long overdue. $1:50 a.m. You're an animal. And you're going to stay up for the United game? Oh, there you go, Mish. Yeah, Melbourne base. That'd be cool. Yeah, might as well check it out. Like my good friend Drewzy, he's got a passport for both, so he has that right. And I do not, so I'm on a visa. Bovril and stale bread? Stale bread, come on. Come on. At least make it nice bread. You're joking. Run rate's 10.81. We got 4 overs to go, and they're at 173. Conceivably should hit 10 to 12 and over here. If they hit 12 and over, they'll be at about 220. Which will be very hard to chase down. Are you serious, Pommy? Have you slept at all? You are hardcore. That doesn't sound healthy. 250 was looking on the cards at one point, that's true. What's the weirdest food I've tried in England? I don't know if I can't actually think. I didn't try haggis in Scotland. I should have. What have I tried? I feel like there is something that I've tried and gone, what the fuck is that? But I can't remember. Has to be stale to absorb the bottle better. Wow. Oh, Pommy, there you go. How old are your kids? Must be fairly young then. You poor bastard. Blood pudding. Thank you, Lily. As I was saying it, I was like, I did try something recently, very recently, and I couldn't remember what it was. I tried blood pudding. Look, it's not disgusting tasting. As a concept, it's a bit gross. The taste is fine, but it just made me go, why? Jellied eels, tripe on toast. I have not tried either. That sounds awful. That sounds awful. Oh, there you go, Pommy. Yeah, right. I'm yet to have kids. I'd kind of hope by 8 they'd be, you'd be past the not sleeping stage, though. Is that a 6 again? That is a huge 6 too. Black pudding is not life. Sounds worse than it tastes. You'd hope so. You'd hope so. Because if it tastes worse than it sounds, then England is officially cooked. Cornish pasty. Yeah. I've had a Cornish pasty before. Those are nice. Cornish pixies. Freshly caught Cornish pixies. I wonder if anyone will get that reference. Points for anyone that does. Okay, 2 for 181. They're off an even 100 balls. Story of my love life. Completely shocked by my fellow English people that haven't shown you these culinary delights. Yeah, I think most of the English people I hang out with don't have horrible food. That's my only explanation. Hey, freshly caught Cornish pixies. You guys know what's up. I'm kind of known in my friendship group of randomly quoting Harry Potter and Palpatine. It's kind of my thing. The more obscure the reference, the better. Bush is really good at it. Really good at it. The other day I made a Snapchat and I grabbed an envelope and I did the Molly Weasley howler scene. It was quite funny. Well, I laughed. A non-sweet but instead savoury pie is literally foreign to Americans. Yeah, true. But that's the best kind of pie. Actually, I used to have this blueberry pie in high school. That's just come to me. That slapped, to be fair, but more of a beef pie, man. I get steak bakes from Greg's, which is kind of just like a differently shaped beef pie. It's so good. British people drink more tea than coffee. Yeah, I don't drink tea either. It's just hot brown muddy water. Curry sauce with fish and chips I haven't tried, but that does sound pretty good actually for me. I'm sold on that one. And Jesse, isn't English fish and chips? You're going to hate this. I have not tried English fish and chips. Is it really better though? I've been curious. There is a place near where I live that sells fish and chips that I've been curious to try out. But I just keep walking to Greg's every time. It's just a gravitational pull of Greg's. I don't think I've tried a Nando's here either, Richard. I'm actually not a huge fish and chips guy. Like, I'll eat it. If somebody suggests let's get fish and chips, and I'll be like, yeah, cool. But it's not something I would really get myself. I think it sounds better than it is. Page 394. I just saw that. Good stuff. Good stuff. I'm a coffee guy too. I'm a one a day religious coffee guy. 100%. Fish is more fishy as opposed to the synthetic fish that are in Australia. I have no idea, to be honest. I will get back to you on that one. Ab packs. What are ab packs? I feel so ignorant. You guys keep saying things to me that I am unfamiliar with. Brandon says, what's the best Weatherspoons you've been to? Well, where have I been to Weatherspoons? Traveling a little bit, I went to one in Glasgow. You know what? Weatherspoons are all actually like pretty nice. Like they're not fancy, but they're like big, spacious, relatively clean. It doesn't feel dingy at all considering how cheap it is. And the one here in Macclesfield is good. There's a nice outdoor area. So Macclesfield and Glasgow. Probably Macclesfield is my favourite one, to be honest. Otherwise, I've been to some in the Northern Quarter in Manchester, and they don't quite have the same outdoor areas. I don't meal prep for the week, Ash. I go to the shops every day, but I actually like it. I know that sounds weird because I work from home. Going out to walk into town for my coffee and then grabbing some groceries for the day is my favourite part of the day. So I go to the shops and I just bring one bag full of food and I eat that. I don't meal prep. That might change if I get a job soon, but here we go. Is that a wicket? No, it's fallen to safely. But yeah, no, I don't meal prep. Freshly caught. Darth Jar Jar, are we deliberately referencing that? Surely do a drink along. That'd be great. That'd be great. No, I've done a few live streams where we've gotten a little tipsy. Drewzy goes into the Weatherspoons, we're looking for work, takes one look and walks out. That's true, he did do that. Did you reference like something he said before? Because he did actually do that. My roommate works at Spoons. He's a bartender there. Pommy Noz, most important question ever, Jesse. Tesco's meal deal. Yeah, I like Tesco meal deals. The sausage, egg and bacon triple is my fave. But I'll go the bacon and egg sometimes. Tell you what, and I've heard most people agree with this, the Sainsbury ones look awful. I've never even tried one because I've never seen one that didn't look gross. Maybe. Well done by you. I like that. Ronald Weasley. There you go, Mish. Oh, good memory. Yeah, that's right. I think Spoons would be a good place to work. There's no music, though. That's the only weird thing. It's a wicket? No. Apparently there was a wicket, but I think I moved behind you guys. Oh, funny story. For anyone who watched along with the draft, right? So, which, you know, might not be anyone in here, but... or maybe one or two, but so at the start I couldn't get my KO working, and I obviously use a VPN, which you're not meant to, and I couldn't watch the draft, so I actually watched the AFL.com Nat Edwards, Cal Toomey, Riley Beveridge show, and they were talking about the draft, and it was almost as good. It wasn't quite as good. And I thought it was because they'd cracked down on VPNs. No, I got an email from KO. I hadn't put money into the specific account where I get charged from KO, and my account just got deactivated. Good catch there. 3 for 189. Yeah, so I just got kicked off KO, and I didn't realize, which was dumb. But I've put money into the account since, but evidently it once you fail one payment, I guess you have to manually change something. So that sucks. But I might just leave it off. Unless I need it for the BBL. I might get it for the BBL. What is the function of a rubber duck? England is cheaper for food. I agree with that, I think. At least in Macclesfield. My grocery shops are cheaper than they were in Perth slightly. Morrison's is good for the sandwiches. You have to be real north from Morrison's. I was going to say, I haven't heard of a Morrison's. Also don't really get around Pret a Manger. Just not really my kind of thing. Why isn't there a Wetherspoons in Australia? It's amazing. Basically, McDonald's of pubs. It's so good, Pommy. I don't know why. Like, I've had before, like on nights out, I've wanted to say, let's load up at Spoons before we go anywhere. I thought that's pretty standard, right? And some of my mates, like, some of them are like relatively well-off professionals. They're like, nah, it's just, we'll go somewhere nicer. And I'm like, you're crazy. It's like £2.50 for some pints. Ludicrous. In Australia, though, it would probably just lead to more of a drinking problem. KO throws you out after missing one payment. Is that right, Data? So you've experienced that before? That's stiff. I've had KO for like 3 years, I reckon. Well, whenever it started, basically, I had it. Cafe Nero is your cup of coffee. I go there sometimes. A little bit cheaper than Costa. But I find Costa gives you these like exorbitant sizes you don't need. So if I get a regular, like it's a massive, large. No, don't go to Pret. Only for people who went to school with the Queen. Yeah, I mean, I went there for a coffee once in London because there's one at Euston train station because I needed some food and coffee, and that was the only time I've ever been. That's a great idea, actually, Pommy. I just love to know how everything is so cheap. Like their margins on their drinks and their food must be minimal. I mean, their food's not great. It's pretty bad, actually. I'll eat it. I don't care. I'll eat their bad burgers because it's cheap, but or their breakfast. Their full breakfasts are pretty good for the price. Do I know anything about Hugo Garcia? I really don't, Lily. Apologies. He was one player I accidentally left out of my draft analysis because I tried to rush that video a little bit. I think that was the only one I forgot. But no, he was one I'll admit. Unless that's a question for Pommy, because Pommy's really across the draft. He might know who Hugo is, but no, missed that one. My bad. Betty's Tea Rooms in New York. Oh yeah, the waitresses dressed in Victorian outfits. That's sick. It'd be worth going to York again. It's not massively too far from me either. I have to change in Leeds, but that's alright. So we're at 18 overs. They're at 3 for 190. Lance Collard is a cousin of Brad Hill. I didn't know that. You're firing a lot of facts today, Lily. I appreciate it. Legit, every night out I've ever had begins with an all-day breakfast and pint of Carling. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I've had one hungover all-day breakfast from Spoons, but I should have more, to be honest. Actually, I've had two. One after a really big night in Liverpool once. I'm going to take a leak, guys. Bear with me. Ah, my stream froze. And I don't mean when I went for a week, although it is cold. Did I accidentally pause it? There we go. Hugo, pretty nifty footballer, played back and forward and in the middle. He's a little mongrel, loves a tackle. I think around 3 Calder Cannons is on YouTube. Oh, there you go. By the way, if anyone in here, I forgot to say this before, is unfamiliar with Pommy and Oz, go check out his channel for sure. Subscribe. Outstanding content. How often do you see Drewzy? Well, Drewzy's actually just moved back to Perth now. So, I didn't see him until like July or actually August. August this year was the first time I'd seen him since he left in December. And then I saw him a few times in Manchester. I sort of met him out and we'd have a few drinks out. He came to Macclesfield once for the podcast. And then we had a few nights out in Manny. And then... and that's it, yeah. Probably like 3 or 4 times this year. That is a big 6. Low full toss, smacked over the bowler's head. G'day, Dizzy. Have I seen the West Australians front page for tomorrow? No, I haven't. What's my go-to beer in the UK? I feel like I'm going to get judged for this, but I usually get a Stella or a Carlsberg at Spoons because they're the cheapest ones, usually. But I like them. I like them both. It's a nice, easy-to-drink lager. I usually also go for Hell's Lager. I'm a lager guy. And when I'm in Brixton, I get Brixton Lager. One of my best mates lives in Brixton in London. And, it's a cultural thing to have a Brixton Lager. I've had a Carling a couple of times. Is that your go-to, Pommy? Smacked for another boundary. This is carnage. You and Drewzy are everywhere, always travelling. Yeah, it's been a big year for travel, that's for sure. Definitely. Drewzy wanted to get back to Perth, and I think he wants to move to Melbourne. If I were him, I wouldn't rush it. Like, the thing he has is the passport, so he can come back whenever he wants. Whereas I can't. Once I leave this place, like, and my visa expires, I can't come back here unless I get a job. I can't live here without a job. So I'm not rushing back. I'm going to be here for another year. But I think he wants to kickstart the rest of his life, which is fair. If it were me in his shoes, I would have stayed, but... Oh, misfield by Steve Smith goes for 4. And the Indian fans are going crazy. 220 seems very easy now. G'day, Nyasha. Good, mate. How are you? You enjoy the fact that Poms claim Foster's is the number 1 drank beer in Australia? I drank it for 12 months to get used to it. No one sells it here. Yeah, I've never seen it anywhere other than England and in Abu Dhabi. I used to get Foster's because I was like, that's Australian. Just turned 21. Didn't really know anything better. Heineken is another one I get regularly. I think that's just inherited. My dad always had Heineken. That is a huge 6. Wow. Highest total in T20s at this venue. This is crazy. 221 for 3. My God, I'm still 1-6 behind you. Carling or Tetley's? I thought Tetley's was a T. I'm not going to lie. Is it also a T? You've got a friend in Reed. That is clever. That is clever. They're really milking this, aren't they, the media? That being said, I cannot judge at all. I've done a lot of Harley Reid videos. To be fair, like, part of it is knowing that it is a topic that will get views, but also I'm an Eagles fan and it's close to my heart. And it has been an interesting narrative this year. So I haven't milked it too... Well, I did, but I felt like I always had something worthy to say. I never would have put Gilby moving to Perth as, like, a video, for instance. Foster's in America too. That makes sense. Another 6. So yeah, I'm behind you. So it looks like there's a wicket. Foster's was bought out. Interesting. You got a friend in Reed. Yeah, interesting move with Gilby. Just getting a player for the waffle side is a plus. Just need someone who can play. The waffle side was torched this year because they only had like 3 to 6 players a week that were AFL listed. There we go. This must be the wicket. Good catch. Well, simple catch, but yes. At least the waffle team's getting somewhat better. Yeah, I mean, it'll just get better if we have a normal amount of injuries next year. Because it was a lot of criticism on the waffle team and just how, like, all 3 Eagles teams were playing terrible, which is true. But the criticism of the waffle team failed to really acknowledge that having 26 available players on the list for the AFL team and them getting smashed would also have an extremely high impact on the waffle side as well. Did the waffle side concede 200 this year? I think they did it one game. I feel like there was one. Legit, the advert in the UK is it's the only beer in Australia. Is that right? And I've never seen it in every decade of living here. I don't recall ever seeing Foster's in Australia either. Yeah, Coronas go alright, but I wouldn't seek one out, but if I was at someone's house and they served me one, I'd be, happy. Yeah, the AFLW team really needs to improve. Obviously, them being bad is separate to all the teams need to improve, not just the women, but that is obviously separate to the men's injury issues. I don't know if they need to join the VFL as such, Lily. I think it's more likely they'll just wait for a national reserves competition. I don't really see the urgency for us to leave the waffle and play in a higher league when we just need to get the players playing together again and get healthy. Like, that's the main focus. Seems a bit much, says Regan. I'd be curious to know who initiated it. Did West Coast really seek out Gilby? Because that's them really doing their homework if they did. Yeah. I don't see why not. Only Fosters I see are from the old Grand Prix advertisement and posters from the 90s. Is that right? Yeah. When we get a new coach next year, men's side might not be far behind, yeah. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. I'll predict that it doesn't happen. I'll predict that we improve enough where Simo keeps his job. But either way, the financial thing for Simo is still going to be an issue either way. VB or Melbourne bitter? I've only ever had VB. I think it's alright. I'm not too fussy. I don't think I've ever had Melbourne bitter. So 2 balls remaining in this innings. 229 is a formidable total. And there's still 2 balls left. My prediction of India making 240 at the 5 over mark wasn't far off. Good point. Gold Coast won the VFL. That's very true. It's a big sign of progress, you would say. Oh my God. Is that a no ball as well? Doesn't look like it was paid no ball. Eagles finally playing Melbourne at the G. Last time it happened in 2014. Yeah, that's right, Brandon. I was thinking that today. We haven't played... I actually remember that game in 2014 too. I think we crunched them. Obviously, that was before Melbourne was good. God, it'd be cool to knock off Melbourne this year at the MCG. AFL 2 and AFL 3 for reserves should exist, and teams up and down between the two depending on results. Oh, you reckon like promotion stuff? I think that would kill a lot of teams, to be honest. I don't think we have we'll have the same interest. I presume in that case we add more teams as well. Why is there even T20s on right after the World Cup? Not the smartest. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's a largely different team, to be fair. And because it's just like a meaningless series, as all like series are, really, in limited overs anyway, unless they're the World Cup, they are in theory meaningless. Kind of. Like it doesn't really matter if Australia just want to rest a bunch of players. Like this Indian team, I don't think any of them were in the World Cup. As for us, we obviously had Steve Smith, Stoinis, and Maxwell and Zampa. But Maxwell and Zampa didn't play the first one. Thanks, Pommy. Thanks for tuning in, mate. It's been good to have you. Take care. And good luck to Everton. Petra brews your own beer. Impressive. All the players have defended Simo and said he was the right man to lead them, even JK, so maybe it's not his coaching. We'll find out next year. We will. And I am confident we will improve. We might still be bottom two, but we'll improve. Just need a clean run with the injury, to be honest. Good night, Petra. 5 years' time, who do you think will be the better team? That's a good question. I don't know. The thing is, like, big clubs like West Coast, they don't tend to stay down for too long. And the other examples I think of are like Collingwood, Sydney, and Adelaide. Are teams that bounce back quickly. Hawthorn is being a little bit more patient with it. There just tends to be like the bigger the club, the better they seem to bounce back. And North Melbourne have just been rebuilding for so long now that even though this talented group they've got is really talented, it's just not necessarily going to necessarily translate to them being better. But if you're like purely analysing like list talent, North Melbourne should be better than us in 5 years. Yeah, that's true, Regan. And obviously, Indian Premier League, I'd imagine, would be the strongest T20 league outside of international. Geelong tend to bounce back pretty quick as well. That's true. The only reason I didn't include them is because they've never really bounced down. I don't think they've ever finished lower than 12th. If we are Spooners again, should we ask for a priority pick? Yeah, we could probably ask for it. It will have been 4 years in a row without finals, the first time in our history, which seems odds on to happen. And 2 wooden spoons and a bottom 2 finish. Yeah, I really don't think we'll be that bad though. Daniel doesn't reckon the Hawks should exist. Why do you think the Hawks don't need to exist? Is that a geographical thing? I don't really know Melbourne geography that well. The innings break at the moment. North Melbourne should have been to the Gold Coast. Yeah. Well, I have no strong opinion on that, but it would fix the imbalance in our league a little bit. I think priority picks are bullshit, but if North get one, we should get one. Yeah, I'd imagine what we get though is not going to be as much as North. So you could say we could probably get some priority pick assistance, but it might not be that good. It might be like 2 extra list spots or something like that, or like top 20 picks that we have to trade. It'll be something that's not that juicy, I reckon. Thanks, Lumpy Custard. Appreciate that, mate. North should be competing for finals in 5 years. Yeah, I think I would lower that to like 3 years, to be honest. I think they should be looking for finals in 3 years. If they haven't made finals in 4 years' time, they're in dire straits, seriously. Because I do have a fair few players in that 20 to 24 bracket. If LDU has a full season, if Taron Thomas harnesses his talent, Jai Simpkin as well has been a good player. Make it so they have 2 teams in Tassie. I wonder how that would go. I suppose we'll see. We need to see how one goes first. You'd imagine that eventually they'll split into 2. Hobart and Launceston. Can't wait for Sam McClure's first episode on his podcast. Yeah, didn't he already kind of make a comment on it and he backtracked a little bit, saying he wasn't criticising Harley or anything like that? And he kind of suggested that he thought West Coast should trade the pick, which is kind of glossing over the fact that he said they're absolutely not picking him. North Melbourne can't get a big crowd even if they were in finals in the past unless they play home games against big Vic teams. Yeah, I don't really have the stats on that. But I'm sure you're right. If Harley Reid leaves in 3 years' time, West Coast will get better draft picks. Depends how good he is in 3 years. If he struggles for 3 years and then gets trade home, then that is not a good return on investment. I don't think he'll leave in 3 years anyway. I think there's a chance we get him through to free agency. Oh, there you go, Regan. No worries, mate. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Appreciate that. That's cool that you're mates with Jordan Croft. Should the AFL change the father-son rule to 50? I'd probably more likely go the other way. Make it harder to be a father-son rather than drop it. Otherwise, there'd be way more father-sons, which is probably not where we want to go. Could see Larky winning the Coleman if North improve. He was like 10 short of Kerno. That's true. Yeah, he's a Coleman shout, for sure. Don't think you've seen a YouTube upload so much. Thanks, mate. Yeah. No, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Yeah, I've been doing like 2 or 3 a day. After this stream, I'm probably going to make 2 more. I've kind of written the scripts for him already. If he leaves in 3, he goes for a bumper deal. Yeah, if he's out of contract, he won't have the same value. We want to probably trade him in 2 if he's going to go in 3. And it depends if he's any good. Because, in 3 years, it was not going to matter that he was the number 1 pick. North are better placed for finals, but organisationally, the Eagles are better. Yeah, you'd hope so. We have just kind of cleaned house in some respects anyway, like the CEO. But culturally, historically, we're very strong. There's a lot of good things about playing for the Eagles. 150 games, says Nyasha. Yeah, I think that was the direction it will go, not the other way. But I don't actually really feel a pressing urge for us to need to trade it. To change it, sorry. Still in the innings break for anyone wondering. I'm just having a look at this World Cup in America. That is so exciting. I don't know why. It's kind of a stupid thing to get excited about. But I would love there. I'd love to go there for the World Cup. It's such a random thing to go to. I'd love to go to the FIFA World Cup there as well. I think that's like 2032. I think. Ladder range for the Dogs. I think they're going to... I don't see them as a realistic top 4 threat. I think like 7th to 11th. What are your thoughts, William? They do have a lot of good youth. So I think they're not going to like collapse as a club. I just don't trust them at the moment. Smitty either gets 100 or LBW for less than 20. Yeah. Smith hitting a T20 100 would be impressive. Who's opening the batting for us? Matthew Short and Steve Smith. There you go. A lot of the time, pick one isn't the best player in the draft. Yeah, absolutely, Darth. But we are getting better at projecting which players will be the best. Like, the draft is getting more accurate than it used to be, for sure. Like, when you consider the hype around Ashcroft and, to some extent, Sheasel and Dacos, and they've really come in. I mean, Horn Francis is also on that level of hype nearly. Harley Reid's on his own level of hype, but what Ashcroft, Dacos, and Sheasel have already done is outstanding. I find it really ironic with the Academy fuss because Sydney lost Mitch Woods, a top 40 2024 prospect, 24 hours out from the draft last week. How did that happen, Kai? Will Gaffey return to form next year? He wasn't bad toward the end of his year. Yeah. I think outside players tend to get better when the team gets better. And I think that's probably why he started his career so well, because that year we were good. And I remember Andrew Embley also just exploded after looking like he was ready to retire in 2011. He had a massive season that year because the team got better. So if the team improves, Gaffey will improve. We should hold an AFL match in India. I'd be curious. Don't know to what extent India really gets around AFL. Has there been anything in recent times where the last person drafted turned out to be amazing? NFL has a Mr. Irrelevant for pick 200. Probably historically, like Mitch Lewis was in the last handful of picks. Noah Long, obviously, like he didn't even get a nomination, but he was still very good this year, and certainly not the best player in the draft or anything like that. But he was the second last pick in the draft, and he played 19 games. So for one season of work, I think that's pretty damn good. When will North make the finals next? 2026, I'll say. Things can click quickly under Clarko, and I think McKercher and Dersma can impact early. Wardlaw, I can see he just needs to get his body right. That's true, Kai. I wonder if we're going to extend the playing lists again. That would be nice. Give every team their 2 spots back, because at the moment it's 36 on the main list. Shot. Smith has whacked that for 6. That was a good shot. Harry Cunningham was 107. I didn't even know the draft went that deep. Yeah, that's right. He was ninth in the BNF now, sure. If West Coast get Tim English next year, would give up pick 1. No, he's a free agent, so we wouldn't do that. We wouldn't trade for him either. I like Luam and Lual, Charlie. I thought he was going to go a little bit earlier than he did in the end. Yeah, very athletic, aggressive. I didn't research him a whole lot because I knew he was a next generation academy talent. That being said, he could have still been drafted by West Coast. I watched a bit more of Giath by comparison as another NGA, but I think he'll be a good player. He's shorter than Giath. Oh, there you go. 93 in the rookie draft. NP reckons the Eagles could finish 15th. I think so too. The trick is just picking who's going to be worse than us. I can easily see us being good enough to not be a wooden spoon team, but who's going to be worse than us next year? Sure, there's Richmond, but they were still a lot better than us this year. And then there's North as well. Darth reckons we have too many tall forwards now. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, they're all quite different. I think Marek, Allen, and Reed, long term, could be the 3 we go with, and they're all quite different to each other. Jack Williams is speculative. Waterman could play as a non-key player. Bailey Williams, I still think, is more of a ruckman anyway, so he'd probably just float there in the same way that Vardy did. But yeah, I mean, also Archer Reed is years away from playing. So might as well just roll the dice. Good shot. Good start to this innings, by the way. Is there another Max King, is there, Kai? 2 years away and he's already 193 centimetres. Are you joking? Josh Smiley as well is like 194. In 12 months, he's going to be 2 metres tall. Surely. I mean, he might only grow a little bit, but he's going to be an enormous midfielder. And he's 92 kilos. Yeah, I agree, William. They are a frustrating side. I think a lot of their gaps are pretty filled now. Buslinger seems like he's coming on all right. Hasn't played yet, I know, but like in the VFL. Yes, Finn O'Sullivan's probably my early preference for next year. It sounds like he's the best prospect. I don't really think we're going to have pick 1, to be honest, but it's hard to make an argument for that like on the channel because everyone will just say you're biased. Of course, I'm a little bit biased, but I can't think of a team who's going to be worse, so I'm going to keep putting us in last. What do I think about... Sorry, there's something over the cursor there, so I can't see. Pretty sure there's 3 or 4 200-centimetre potential midfielders in the upcoming draft classes. Yeah. Ridiculous. Is Nick Cox from Essendon, like, considered a wingman still? Like, what's the deal there? I know he's missed a lot of football. Or is he a key forward? Because he was talked about as the 200-centimetre midfielder. I mean, Ethan Reed... He's like 202, 203. He's listed as a ruck/midfielder. I agree with that, Darth. He's repaid the faith. He had a really good year. Overexposed as a ruck, for sure. I'm a big fan of Bailey. Does he have a long-term future as our number one ruck? I'm not sure, but got to give him credit for a great year. Predicted bottom four is tough. West Coast and North, only because they were so far behind all the other teams that it's hard to make a case for either of them missing it. And I think Richmond probably in there. The other team's a lot harder to pick. You've got up-and-coming teams like Hawthorn and Fremantle who were close. Well, they were both bottom 5 this year. But they should improve. Oh, drop catch. Geelong I don't see getting worse next year. I think they're still going to be good. They've got games at GMHBA. I can't see them losing enough to hit in the bottom 4. Essendon just recruited a bunch of players. Showed some good signs this year. Any one of them could have an off year. It could be Gold Coast again. Gold Coast could finish bottom 4 again and then explode the year after. Like, it would be some team that you don't really expect, in my opinion. Daniel reckons North to 12th or 14th. Maybe. I could see them starting the year well again and then fading. Is that a 6? This is a good chase. Good start to the chase by Australia. No, I don't necessarily think Dan Curtin will go back to WA Lily. He doesn't seem like the flight risks type. That being said, Adelaide's retention is quite poor. Hopefully Brockman or Flynn can be like Jaden Hunt. Man, Jaden Hunt is the player that I need to apologise to because I didn't really see it with him. He was outstanding this year. G'day, Jake. Lily reckons Essendon bottom 4. Yeah, the latter is like more hard to predict than ever because there's an evenness that I don't remember there being 10 years ago. And that's by design. The league wants that. Ooh, spin bowler in. Jake reckons Inglis man of the match. St Kilda bottom 4. Big call. I'm not sure if Rossaline will allow that. Not that it's his choice, but Bishnoi, good ball first up. I think there's less of a go-home factor. Well, there's more trading than ever. But whether it's homesickness has gone up, probably not, but it's more like players like just looking for different opportunities. Like Grundy and Adams to Sydney, for instance. Or Liam Henry going to Victoria. That's the player movement that's increased, I suppose. Be interesting to analyse that data and see like how many players, what percentage of players are going home to their home state compared to before. QWS and Adelaide top 6 next year. I agree with that, to be honest. If the Dogs miss finals, Bevo, kiss your job goodbye. Yeah, I would have thought so. I'm not sure what's his contract status. Yeah, Darth, that was my logic as well. To get I think he was 27 at the time, turning 28 this year. He'll be 29 next year. I didn't think it made any sense, but clearly an underrated player. Clearly I had underrated him. And we needed him this year. Hopefully we're in a position where he gets squeezed out by the time he's 30. Lucky inside edge there. He always does, Jake. He always finds a way. I like the doggies though. Wicked. Rats. G'day, Matthew Pollock. West Coast, North, Freo and Richmond. Bottom 4. Fair calls, mate. Freo in the bottom 4 would be a shocking result for him. I wonder what would happen to Longmuir at that point. I'm not sure, William, if I will. That's a good question. It really depends when I move home. I think I'll miss all the next season in terms of live games. The year after that, definitely. Looks like there's going to be a wicket on my screen now. Oh, yeah, bold. Bishnoi gets his man. That's a good question, Darth, about Jermaine Jones. I have thought that maybe he plays forward because I think the intention this year was he was going to play forward. In round one, he kicked 2 goals as a small and looked really good. And then we needed some help with the run and carry out of the back half. It's a tough one. I mean, Yo's another question mark. Like, I can't help but feel that we're going to chuck him in the guts from round one, even though he probably should be playing as a defender. So all of those things will be factors. I mean, we didn't recruit a running defender this year in the draft. Unless they have high, tickets on Burgeel, which, sounds like he played really well in the waffle before he got injured. So we didn't recruit a small forward either. We drafted Locke Rawlinson, but he's not going to play next year. With Brockman in, probably to answer your question, maybe Jermaine Jones stays back. Richmond finished higher than Gold Coast coming into the year. That's your Smoky. Well, that was also the case this year. It could happen. Crazier things have happened. You feel like Hardwick might take a year to get Gold Coast sorted and then in his second season explode. Like, that happens a lot. It often happens with teams in the back end of their coach's first season. Well, it happened with Simo and it happened with Kingsley. The Arsha reckons Yo at half-back. I reckon mostly back, rotating through the midfield. Why am I not in Oz? I just wanted to move to the UK, travel the world a little bit. I had to do it before I was 30 for the visa. That's true. He does seem to get injured a lot on ball, but I actually don't know if that's because he's on ball or not, though. Is he going to do that injury at half-back anyway? Yeah, about 20 possessions at half-back. I heard that he's playing really well before he randomly came up with a season-ending hamstring injury. Like his last waffle game I heard was a blinder. I didn't watch it, of course. Kai's asking for flops in the draft. Oh, that's a big call. I wouldn't have a clue. I'm trying to think. Gothard was very speculative. I'm not saying it'll be a flop. I can't really think of a player that I think is likely to be a flop. Like, the talls are more likely. The hit rate on talls is lower. So, Ethan Reed's got to put on a lot of weight, for instance. Connor O'Sullivan. And Jordan Croft. I have no idea. But they come to mind. I just think the fire in some of the Tigers players, older ones anyway, they'll be out to prove a point. I mean, maybe. New coach. Ooh, sharp turning ball there from Axar. 1 for 6 off the last 11 balls. AFL match in the USA would go well. They have a US AFL league. That's true. I saw someone at the shops here in Macclesfield wearing a... What did it say? It was an AFL shirt, but it was like English AFL, but I can't remember exactly what the logo was. But they were at the shops here in Macclesfield. That was unusual. Yeah, that's true, Darth. I wonder if he'll get a crack now. I mean, like, Cully's injury means maybe he's the next cab off the rank, but... with Jimby, Hewitt, and Reed all ahead of him, I wonder if he's even going to get a look in this year if we don't have injuries. That's true, William Laird, especially now that Phoenix Spicer got listed. That would be good, Nyasha. I don't know a whole lot about Jordan Baker. I've obviously followed his stats and stuff. But I've heard good things. He seems like a likely type. Yeah, I heard that Darth. I'm not too sure how bad it is, so I'll wait until I hear any more before I get panicky. Yeah, that's true, Reggie. I mean, if we're saying in 3 years they haven't made finals, that's poor. Another wicket. God. The danger man Inglis is out. Rats. I mean, if Gold Coast make two final series and don't win a final, I think that's probably okay. If they make one final series and don't win a final, I'd say that's probably pretty poor. They're saying Cully might be back round one. Interesting. That's the first time I'm hearing Darth. Interesting. I hope that's the case, but I would start him in the waffle. I honestly think Zane True's probably going to be better than him. But let him build in the waffle anyway. He hasn't really had consistency. Like no Eagles players had consistency. Like switching between leagues, injured. Why was there so many bolters in this year's draft? There's bolters in every draft. I don't know if there was more this year. Like Gothard was a shock. And the other one was Oscar Ryan. But other than that, I think it went kind of as expected, no? The top 20? That report comes from the West. That was on the Cully's recovery, was it? That was from the West. Interesting. Good sign. Where does Cully play, forward or mid? Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think he's like suited to really make it at A level with either. He's a bit slow for mid. And probably not dangerous enough around goals to be a forward. And competing with a more talented Marek, in my opinion. I could see him rotating between forward, back, and mid. If he can become a good utility in that way, that'd be good. But I don't see him as a full-time on-baller. Taylor go to North. That was a bit of a bolter. Fair play, Lily. I kind of saw that coming at the time. On the live, I was like, this will be goad. The reason being Adelaide was super interested. North had 3 of the next 4 picks. Adelaide sandwiched in between. So I suppose he bolted, but he kind of bolted over a course of a couple of weeks before the draft, rather than being a draft night shock, I would argue. Jake reckons centre half forward for Cully. Do you think North will regret not taking Curtin? Maybe. He is a gun. I mean, I can see him winning the Rising Star. I feel like he's going to be good from day one. I can see him averaging like 18 touches a game next year as a bit of a roaming halfback, and I think he will make Adelaide a better team. That being said, if North didn't need talls, if North needed talls, Curtin may not be a true key back anyway. Culley did kick 4 goals against Port. I know, yeah, you're right, but yeah, it was kind of a one-off. Ben McKinley kicked 7. Was it 8 or 7? Against Essendon. Look, fingers crossed. But I think Marek is more blessed. By comparison. He is a good mark, Cully. I'll give him that. Goad looks good. Yeah, I agree. I feel like Cherry played really well against West Coast, albeit it was against Bailey Williams, who at the time, wasn't that good. In round 1, that is. Oh, what has happened there? Not out. Adelaide is a smoky next year. I would agree with that. I would just say they probably don't have the top midfield required to go all the way, but I could see them like other West Coast in 2011 just sneaking into the 4 as the best of the rest, maybe. The showdowns next year are going to be unreal. They were good this year. But potentially both teams in the finals. That's huge. Will Brisbane play next year because of the Olympics? Oh, right. I'd forgotten about that. That sucks for them. Where is... Oh, I know where the Olympics are. When are the Olympics? Well, the fixture's already out, though. Oh, wait. No. Paris is next year. Brisbane in 2028. Is it? Or even... It's not 2032, is it? Is it 2028? Oh, no. It's 2032. Yeah. 2032. So we got a while to worry about that. Cully is a good mark and a great tackler. Yeah. Nyasha loves Marrick's field kicking. I agree. I actually think we could deploy Marrick off a back flank. He played like one game. Is it for Dandenong? Is he from Dandenong? He played one game for them on a half-back flank and was good. And I could see him being that roaming third tall defender. He's a bit skinny now to be able to trust in the back line. Like, he is a tiny guy. I know he used to be 100 kilos. He is tiny. But I would like to see him in the back half. Gross. That sounded gay. Huge call. Port Adelaide drop out of the 8 next year. Forward line is very shaky. Defence has a lot of question marks. I suppose they reinforce that back line a little bit, but I suppose Asava and Zerk Thatcher aren't exactly world-class players. Oh, he's middled that. Huge 6. It's Maxwell. Oh, could Maxwell replicate his form? Is that another wicket? There's another wicket on my screen. I keep making a mistake of looking at the score on the live stream. Fuck. I agree, Darth. There's some firepower in that forward line. Like, Cripps this year was unreal when he got back into the team. Might be a while before we see Waterman. He's recovering from that illness. He lost 10 kilos. So I think he'll be a slow burn in the waffle. Is this the wicket? No. Is the Gabba on the sidelines next year? What's happening next year with the Gabba? Is it the Commonwealth Games? No, wrong year. What's happening to the Gabba? Yeah, Maxwell's out. I'll look on the fixtures because it's all already fixtured. If we are talking about next year. Brisbane can't play at the Gabba for 5 years. What? How do I not know this? So Brisbane are playing at the Gabba in round 3. Gabba. Okay, it's fixtured up to round 16. Oh no, Gabba, sorry. Gabba. It's all fully fixtured for the Gabba, so what's the latest that I'm missing here? Yeah, I saw that, Darthy, about the illness thing. That sounded like it was a bit of a miscommunication, apparently. A bit, Like, I think Chris Waterman said that they hadn't reached out to him or something like that, and the Eagles clarified that wasn't true. I don't really know. Oh, they're rebuilding the Gabba. That makes sense. Okay. Well, that doesn't seem to be impacting next year's fixtures. Yeah. But, just on the Waterman thing, I think he will play again. It's just, he's going to come from a long way back, so let him build in the waffle. Maybe back into the year, he'll come back. It's just an awful thing to happen, and not that it's about the team, it's about his health, but at the same time, he was just starting to play so well. And we had like 4 players not in the team. In 2025, they're not playing in the Gabba. Okay, Commonwealth Games, and then of course, 7 years later, they do have the World Cup. Sorry, the Olympics to consider. I get that. All right. I don't know. Yeah, they could. They'll probably play some games at Metricon, you'd think. And then Townsville, yeah. That'll be a huge disadvantage for them. If that's the case. That would suck. And they're in contention too. It's like, if that happened to West Coast in like 2019, I would have been filthy. 3 for 54. Maxwell probably was our last hope of winning this game. Yeah, I agree on Waterman. He was playing so well. He kicked a bag of 4 in round 2, I think it was. And just generally, like, he was, taking really strong marks. He's 192 centimetres now, up from 190. Yeah, it'd be tough. Be tough for him. He's got to really fight for that spot. There's some competition now, which is good, I suppose. It feels like the middle of the night here. It is not 4 o'clock. It's 3:59. It's gotten dark. It's so weird. Pec muscles here can do some work, but he never looks like he gives a shit enough. Pec muscles. Whose pec muscles are you referring to? True. I've heard he's a good culture guy as well, yeah. It would have sucked if he had to retire, honestly. Just for him as much as anything. Jake's off to bed. Blue Boys back. First back day at training. There you go. What just came out of my mouth? Thanks for taking part, Jake. Training Sam Walsh wins the Brownlow, and it kills me to say this because I dislike him, but Fantasia cements a spot in Carlton's 22. Still dislike him even though you recruited him. Yeah, he could be a dangerous player in that Carlton lineup. It's midnight in Perth. True. Shout out to you guys still on the stream. Appreciate it. Brisbane should play in Victoria for a year because of Fitzroy. I wonder if their players would like that. It's a big commitment for their players to do that. Oh, pec muscles is Stoinis. Forgive me. So let me reread your comment. Pec muscles here can do some work, but he never looks like he... Okay, that makes way more sense now. I thought we were talking about, like, Waterman or Petrocelli. I thought maybe it was like an autocorrective Petrocelli. Yeah, Stoinis, I forgot. He is a monstrous hitter when he wants to be. I'll never forget that game against New Zealand in, like, 2017, I think it was. It was Maxwell-esque. We're 23 runs and 2 wickets behind what they were. Stoinis with the forward defence. The other thing here with the UK is like, you need the lights on, even when it's like 12 p.m. You know, it's like being in the dark constantly. Not looking good for the Aussies, says Regan. Agreed. This is looking a little bit El Stinko de Mayo. They immediately need a hit, which is the most redundant thing I've said all day. But I mean, there's just urgency. Required rate is already nearly 14. Perth Scorchers could do better, says Nihasha. Probably. Just going to refill my water. Another underrated player I hope to see next year is Luke Edwards. Yes, give me 1 second. I will reply to that. So yeah, Edwards just keeps getting injured for a start, as you point out. But as well, like, because we had no forwards available in the back end of this year, it meant that he had to play on a half-forward flank a lot. And I think he had like multiple games where he had like 3 possessions, which isn't entirely his fault because he's not a forward. But it felt like the Eagles just were like, we don't rate you quite enough to be a full-time midfielder, even though it makes sense to give him those opportunities. Because I think he's a good midfielder as well. So I just feel like the Eagles don't rate him highly enough to put him in there over Jinby or Hewitt or Reid now. So I think he's a bit doomed, unfortunately. I would have handled him a little bit differently. Give him more on-ball rotations. More wing, even. Playing him on the half-forward flank did nothing for him. Oh, another catch. This game might not be on that much longer. Should AFLW have a Tasmania team before the AFL men's? I don't know. I wouldn't have thought that would be a great idea simply because the AFLW has just been expanding rapidly. But I suppose, what are the arguments for? Will Tasmania play in the VFL for a year? I would imagine that would be a good way to do it. That's what Gold Coast did, and GWS probably. Yeah, Asha, good call. I remember that. I remember that game. First of all, it was the greatest... One of the best Eagles games I've ever been to. Certainly the best non-final I've been to. I remember Luke Edwards being unreal in that game as well. And since then, I've been a fan. And I equally also remember that as the game where everything turned to shit after that. Same thing happened to O'Neill. Agreed. Yeah, I was thinking there was more examples than just Edwards, but yes, O'Neill was another one. Yeah, I mean, O'Neill, I don't know if he had this... I think of the two, Edwards was the more talented. The better footballer. But I think had Edwards not had a contract this year, he would have been gone. But hopefully next year's a big year for him. I do like him. Big boy too. Deceptively tall. He's 189. Agreed, Niasha, the AFLW. Well, I mean, it's kind of at max capacity. The only thing is that whether they add the Tasmania team. The pros and cons to which, I suppose, I'm not fully across. I don't really know financially. Like, is the AFLW making a profit? I genuinely don't know the answer to that. Everything was fine until we changed our bloody song. Yeah. I mean, 2020, that was the year. we did okay that year. It started horrendously. We got flogged by Gold Coast, and Port annihilated us. But other than that, we really got our shit together, and I think we even became premiership favourites midway through the year because we won 9 in a row at Optus because we had our home hub. And we should have finished top 4. We were unlucky when we played the Bulldogs. Bont had that goal at the end where it was probably touched on the line, and they didn't review it, or they reviewed it and got it wrong. Whatever it was, I remember being robbed, and that was the difference between finishing 4th and 5th, which is the same result as 2019. So 2020, I would include in that group. While it had its issues, I'd include that in that patch of good form, which is 1 year after the song. 2021 is really where it fell off. Midway of 21. Mind you, there were a couple of 19-point losses. Sydney, I think that was after the Richmond game, but then the Geelong one was before. Thanks, Brandon. Cheers, mate. Sleep well. Lily says, if I was Damien Hardwick, I would tell Gold Coast to get rid of the sound when they kick a goal. It's so annoying. Yeah. We are the sons of the Gold Coast sky. 13 in the chat, guys. Thank you for sticking around. If you could like the stream, that would be much appreciated. I am going to contemplate whether I do any more of these T20 ones. I might do. I don't see why not. I think it just depends on my schedule. In this case, I'm taking up the entire living room, and I can't do that constantly to my roommate. But I think cricket live streams could be a thing in December. You know, maybe not like full test, but maybe I could do like a session, like the last session of each test day. That'd be cool. The Magpies game 2020 elimination final was good except for the result. Yeah, that's right. I was going to mention that as well. Then we lost the final, so it wouldn't have mattered if we finished 4th or not. But it was a ripper game. Like, we're always going to be... There was going to be an unlucky loser of that, regardless. 21, we just looked like a shell of that team. Oh. Almost chops on Tim David. Tim David's also a big hitter. Warning signs were there early in 21, blowing a 3-goal lead against the Dogs. I'm trying to remember that game. I actually don't remember that game. I normally remember like every Eagles game ever, so it's interesting that I don't remember that game, but maybe if you remind me of what happened in it. But I remember the St Kilda one. Fuck. That St Kilda one was disgusting. We played terribly. You're right, though. The warning signs were there. And then the 100-point loss to Geelong as well. But was it 21, though? It was it round 3, 2021, that we smacked Port? Let's have a look. Let's take a journey down memory lane. That's the point of these cricket podcasts. Live streams podcasts. I'm turning into my dad. Oh, Jess, you're doing a live podcast tonight, are you? Oh, Jess, I saw your Eagles podcast. They're not our podcasts. Bless him. All right, I'm going to be looking at the 2021 Eagles season. Big Bash New Year's Eve game. Oh, yeah, Big Bash is a good call. I will do Big Bash, I reckon. It might not be good for the channel, but it might be fun. Honestly, if I can do stuff that means I don't have to get a job, that'd be great. Okay, round 1 we beat. Yeah, we lost 7 points to the Dogs. I do remember this game. Why am I torturing myself? What are some of the worst Eagles memories? I do remember this game, and I'm trying to remember specific moments. Bond kicks 3. Oh, didn't Cripps... Was this the one that Cripps missed in the goal square? I do remember this game. I'm not lying. Cripps missed from like 10 metres out. That's right. I watched this at my dad's house in Brentwood. Yeah. God. Yeah, we were up 78-66 at 3/4 time. Sam Smart says, Bancroft or Warner in the Test series? It's a good question. Bancroft has been the best performed Sheffield Shield player, if I'm not mistaken. Batsman, anyway. I would love to see Bancroft back in the team. So his legacy isn't just being the sandpaper guy. Like, I think that would be nice. There you go, Darth Jar Jar. Your memory of Eagles games is impressive. I thought I had a good one, but you clearly remember that well. I was thinking the other day, like, I remember just like, I think there's a certain age as well. Like, as a kid, I remember score lines of games that the Eagles played in, or at least a close approximations. And I'm talking from like 2003. Like that talent, that ability to remember that stuff, it really does stop. Like, I was such a numbers kid when it came to sport. I could tell you the score lines of a lot of games like pre-2007. And I'm talking cricket as well. Like, I remember the Cricket World Cup final score. We made 2 for 359 and India got bowled out for 234. I just remember that. It's just like this weird, am I on the spectrum or not kind of thing. I remember, like, just random games. We drew with Geelong 63 all in 2003. I don't remember the exact score of 2003 round 2, but I know we lost to Hawthorn by 2 points, and I want to say it was 89-91. I'm going to look that up. 2003 AFL season. This is fun. West Coast changed their Guernseys a lot. Maybe it's time for them to change Guernsey. Oh, no, don't change the Guernsey. That's the best thing about the club. It's like colours. And the Guernsey. Niasha says, must be bringing back the ochre. I'm going to cop. I heard a little rumour about that. Is it like a heritage jumper? That would be kind of funny. I would cop it for a game. Bonk got a free for ducking into a Kelly tackle and passed Waitman or Norton in the goal square. Yeah, right. Don't remember that. Did you watch that game more than once or something? Far out. Cooper Simpson's going to wear the number 29. I found that odd. With all due respect to Cooper Simpson, I thought 29 would go to, like, I don't know, their next high draft pick. You know, that's a big number to give away. West Coast are pretty selective with their legend numbers. Mind you, who's getting 25 for us? Is it Clay Hall? Or is it Archer Reed? Gather round. Ochre against Sydney. Can we get away with that? We're playing Sydney, aren't we? I remember losses really well. Don't remember wins as much. Round 1, 2004, I think the Bulldogs played us at Etihad, or Telstra Dome as it was. I'm pretty sure the score of that was 144-37. I didn't look that up. Like, I just remember these things. It's just an Eagles fan thing, bro. Yeah, round 3, 2021, we did smack Port. I remember that. So I was remembering that correctly. Then we beat Collingwood. Then we lost by 100 points to Geelong. As more sixes rain. Actually, far out. What? 4 for 101. Suddenly we're doing pretty well in the cricket. I need to pay more attention. That happened quickly. Tim David, gee whiz. Then we smashed them in the Derby. We won against Hawthorn. We beat Adelaide. We lost by 16 points in GWS. I vaguely remember that one. Oh, yeah. And then we lost to Essendon at home again. Matt Flynn is 25. Thank you, Graz. You're right. I thought that was a little bit odd. Like, Shannon Hearn, club record holder. Give it to Matthew Flynn. No disrespect intended. That one was a little bit of an outlier. Eagles 12-year flag cycle 2030. I would take that. If you guarantee me a flag in 2030, I'd be happy with that. 12 years is a good enough period where you really savour each one. I don't know what it's like to go for a team that's won back-to-back, obviously. 92, 94, I was not even 1 year old. So, yeah, I don't know really what that's like. But I think spacing him out is good for the plot. Is that another 6? I don't think he's timed that. He's going to be... land safely. Who is going to get 17? That's a good question. I feel, for no real reason, I feel like it's got to be a tall. For literally no reason. The other question is who's going to take number 3? If Gaff retires, could it be our first pick next year? 17 though. What number's Hoff? I've actually gotten pretty bad at Eagles numbers. I'm bad with numbers in general. Hoff. He's not 30, is he? Someone will tell me in the comments. He's in the 20s maybe. But I thought Hoff I would have given number 5 and not Jaden Hunt. I mean, Jaden Hunt ended up having a great year, but... 17, I feel like maybe in a year or two. Surprised JK didn't pass on 17 to Aussie. I mean, Allen already has a lower number, so I think... Hoff is 31, is he? There you go, thank you. Hoff is good. Too good to wear 31. Wait, what's Jones then? Fuck. Oh, Hoff is 19. Thank you. 31 is Jermaine Jones. Thank you. So 19 is a pretty good number, but I think I would give him single digit. Barnett is 30. Thank you. Yeah. I tell you what, I haven't always been this bad with Eagles numbers, but as I get older, I guess it's become less important to me. And there's obviously more players to remember than ever. But some people are really good with numbers. I remember we did an AFL, and it seems like a lot of you are as well. But we did an AFL quiz on True Footy in like 2020, might have been 2020, with Drewzy. And that was the one part of the quiz that I just had no idea. Because like, you think I'm bad with the Eagles players, I'm bad with like the broader league. I'm much worse than. Hawthorn versus West Coast. 91 to 89 was the correct score. I was right. I reckon I remember every game from the 2003 season. That was my first season watching football. So I was very impressionable. Jones is 31. There you go. How many years away from the 8? West Coast? Call me crazy. I can see a scenario where it happens either in the next 2 years, but if it doesn't happen in the next 2 years, I reckon it could be more like 4 or 5 years. And I wouldn't bet on it being in the next 2 years, but I think it's more likely to happen next year than it is in 2 years' time. Does that make sense? It's more likely in 2024, which is still very unlikely, than it will be in 2026. Unless we recruit a big fish, which is because of the experience on the list. We'll be far less experienced by then. Hopefully no 100-point thrashings of the Eagles next year. If we have no 100-point thrashings next year, then we will have improved a lot because we had 5. I'm only good with Eagles players. Give me any other player from any other club. Yeah, same, mate. What's your favourite home and away win? That's a good question. And yeah, everyone, regardless of what club you support, throw in your favourite home and away wins for your club. I'm intrigued what other Eagles ones there will be. Richmond in 2021 is up there. Melbourne 2019, when Liam Ryan took Mark of the Year, is another one. But I think the Richmond one trumps it for me. That was such a special moment. I agree, Darth. Since I've been doing this YouTube thing, I've gotten a lot more respect for people in the media and commentators, to be honest, for various reasons. But identifying players immediately is one of those aspects. What are some other Eagles home and away wins? 2011 must have had a few. So we beat Carlton. Oh yeah, I've got a few now. We beat Carlton at Marvel, or Telstra Dome, in a round 14-ish, I reckon. We beat them by 6 goals. we were sort of competing with Carlton for like fourth spots, and the media in the Victoria were all kind of like, yeah, Carlton's going to win this. And West Coast just went on this run. 2018 home game against Richmond is a good shout, Nyasha. Eagles versus GWS in 2016, great call. Both port finals. Technically not home and away, but I'll count them. Although the McGovern one was, sorry, yes, it was. Good call. 2011 round 2 beating Port Adelaide to go 2-0 after we'd won the Wooden Spoon. That was special. Winning that derby in 2011, the first one. A lot coming from 2011. That was one of my favourite seasons. So we beat Carlton that year. 2009, a lot of you guys might be young for this, but 2009 when we were horrendously batshit, where we beat the Doggies who were top 4. We got out to like an 8-goal lead in the second quarter, and everyone's like, what the hell is happening? West Coast suck. And we won by 5 points in the end. 2006, actually great point. That's probably number 1. Darth Jar Jar. That's probably the winner. St Kilda versus Geelong, round 15, 2009. Is that where Michael Gardner kicked the winner? I do vaguely remember that. The headline on the AFL website might have been, it was Cats Licked, and it had Gardner with his tongue out. I remember that. 2010, LeGras 12 goals. Great call. Some great memories here. This is almost a video in itself. Like, favourite Eagles games that were not finals. This is good off-season content. And you guys are just feeding me. Thank you. Yeah, good shout. What else is there? 2009, last game of the year. Tom Swift gets 3 votes against Richmond. We pump him. That was a good memory. West Coast versus Fremantle, 2000. That was before my time. Dogs versus West Coast 2023. Yeah, how can we forget? That was pretty special. Another 6. It's a good little partnership here. That's it. Thanks, Sam. We've only got 8 in the chat, and I'm having the best time. What other? I'm trying to think of like 05, 06. By 05, 06, 07, we were a good team, so the wins weren't as special. Does that make sense? Like a lot of these that you're remembering, or I'm remembering, is when we weren't favourites. Yeah, Neat Nat on the siren against GWS was good. Of course, against North in 2013, he did the same thing. Lily says yes, confirming the Michael Gardner winner. Yeah, I remember that. 2015 was a fantastic season. I actually don't fully remember the derby that we won, though. Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Because we lost the first one badly. Well, but we came back. It was a weird game. 2011, Sam. Yeah, I remember that. That was the Valentine one, right? I don't know if I enjoyed that one that much. Because we were favourites. 2015, though. Beating Richmond at the G was a big, big win. Tell you what is an underrated one. 2016 against Adelaide. I think it was the week, 2 weeks after maybe, after the GWS one. It might have been the final game of the year. Ironically, we got smashed by the Bulldogs the following week in the finals. Or the following fortnight. But we played the Crows and we were like 8 goals up with 3 minutes to go. Like, it was just ludicrous. And I was like, oh, we can win the flag from 5th. And sure enough, got bundled out in the first final. Should we flip it to worst losses? Prelim against North 15. Oh, I didn't like the North 15 prelim. I was filthy most of that game. But Melbourne in 2018, absolutely. Oh, dropped over the line for 6. There's actually some life here. 62 off 25 this partnership is. This game's got some absolute juice to it. That's not a real thing that people say. Worst losses. Let's go through some worst losses. And opening up the floor to everyone here. about their own club. Worst losses. Sydney, 2023. Adelaide, 2023. Fremantle, 2023. The other 2 100-point losses don't even register. I don't even remember what they were. Was it Carlton, one of them? Oh, and Hawthorn. No, Hawthorn counts. 4 of them were this year. But in terms of heartbreaking, okay, so one that just came to mind was Port Adelaide came back from 47 points down against us to beat us in 2013 at Adelaide Oval. That was heartbreaking. The elimination final loss to Collingwood wasn't great. Actually, I remember feeling a bit mixed about that. It did feel shit, but I can probably think of worse. St Kilda won that year, though. Awful. Worst loss to Essendon in 2018. I remember that game, yeah. That was worrying. I remember the loss against Carlton. I reckon it was about 92 to 89 away. Yeah. What year was that? I remember that scoreline. I'm thinking of losses that were more painful than necessarily the results suck. Getting a punch by 100 points, sure. But, yeah, Windy Hill. Yeah, 1 goal 12, wasn't it? Hawthorn 2019 is a great shout, Jake. Hawthorn 2019 is a great call. Gold Coast in 2020 wasn't great. What else? The first derby I ever saw us lose was 2003, I think. First year Fremantle made the finals. Actually, one that was one of my favourite home and away games is from 2014. And that was when we beat Adelaide away from home and we kind of clicked from then. That was the start of our form that ran into 2015. No, I'm confusing with the Collingwood 2020 final. No, the one that hurt arguably the most in terms of how sad I was after an Eagles game. The absolute worst I felt was Collingwood versus West Coast at Optus Stadium in Perth, 2019. And I think we lost by a point. I remember being in Croatia for a wedding and I was watching it on KO, or however I watched it. It probably wasn't KO. And I remember watching it and having to go to the wedding, and I was on the ferry because it was an island wedding. Beautiful wedding. Absolutely should have been having the time of my life, and I was sitting there not talking to anyone, and I was absolutely destroyed. 2019 was a funny one. That pre-season, I didn't want the season to start because we were premiers, and I just wanted to enjoy that. But by middle of 2019, I just wanted the back-to-back so bad. I wanted it so bad. And sure enough, that loss felt like the one that got us, which wasn't in reality. But Bungus 300's a good call. The win over Hawthorn in 2021, good shout too. I was at a game at Simmons versus Geelong where we kicked 4 in the first and didn't kick any more for the game. I'm trying to remember that game. Was it a night game, Sam? Was it 2014? That would make sense with the Dean Cox comment. I feel like I remember that. I reckon it was 2014. I reckon it was a night game. And I think I worked at the OBH that night. Because it was on TV and I just kept walking past the score going, what the hell? 105 to win off 48. This seems almost achievable now. Night game 2014. Yeah, I'm thinking of the right one. Yeah. Far out. Lily, is that a question you're asking? Was 2002 Judd's first year? Yes, it was. Ooh. Tight one on the stumps there. We've got a bit of a game on our hands, ladies and gents, as I've been banging on about the Eagles. Trying to remember some other terrible losses for you. I mean, obviously the grand final, 2015. But I want to go deeper. Maybe I've just shaken off a lot of those losses. 2003. I feel like we lost... Oh, no, I didn't have that open. 2010. Oh, you know what? The game that we lost to the Brisbane Lions to win the spoon. I really didn't want us to win the spoon. That was heartbreaking. Not going to lie as well, the one of the losses that hurt the most this year as well was losing to St Kilda. JK's last game as well. Yeah, that was so entertaining. I really wanted to win that. I was in Berlin in my hotel and I was deciding whether to go out to enjoy my life like anyone would on holiday. And I decided to stay home and watch JK's last game. Stoinis tries to go large. Good little knock here from Stoinis. COVID year versus the Bulldogs. Yeah, that was the one where the Bontempelli goal may or may not have counted, or shouldn't have counted. I remember thinking that it was touch, but I haven't really thought about it since. If there isn't a clear number one pick, would you trade the pick? I presume you mean in 2024? Yeah, the only problem with that is that if there's no clear number one pick, the pick becomes less valuable in terms of trade. So we wouldn't get the same offer. 2019 round one against the Lions, good nomination. 2010 when we lost by a point to Port. Didn't we draw that? No, we lost by a point. I thought we drew that, but you're right. I actually remember that game. They scored a late behind, I reckon. Yeah, that one I didn't think it hurt me so much. I think I was excited that we made a comeback, and I think Shuey played that game. And in 2010, Shuey gave to a rare because he was injured all the time. And I'm a super fan. Sam says was touch for sure. That's what I thought. I just because I haven't thought about it for years, I kind of didn't want to commit to that call too hard. 102 versus 100 versus Lions away. Was that 2013, 14-ish? And was there a comeback involved in that from Brisbane? Lions were so bad, we played horrible. Yeah, I remember watching that in Cardinia. I just can't really remember the details of it. Or did they just get a late goal? Didn't Hinge kick a late goal? Something like that. Wasn't it like a roost from the centre square? I could be completely adding details here that were not real. But I think Hinge kicked the winner. And it was a long bomb, I want to say. "2013 sucked as a football season for West Coast. Just pure trash. Mind you, we've set new levels of trash now. Is that another 6? This game is on, guys. Late goal, yeah. This game is El Ono. I was a 4, sorry, not a 6, but still good. Big goals from outside 50, there you go. This is therapy, says Nyasha. It's so true. I've never had this conversation before. What are your worst Eagles memories? I mean, actually, I think the worst I've probably felt after an Eagles game, I've said this 4 times in this stream, but I think it was when Gaff hit Brayshaw, because not only was it horrible act, and I had to defend, or not defend, but I had to be around Fremantle fans smashing Gaff, and I was just can't really defend him. But also the very real impact I thought it was going to have on our premiership chances because of how good he was. So it was just multifaceted. He was so good in 2018. Blue McKenna's last game, got beaten by the 2000 Melbourne Demons. They made the grand final that year, though, Darth. It's kind of respectable. How old are you, Darth, actually, if you're remembering these games? Oh, David has mishit this. He's caught rats. That might be the game. Do you think Port will bid on Tyler Welsh next year? No, because they don't have a pick in the first round, Lily. Tyler Welsh will not last that long. That's true there. We're all against Adelaide. I wonder who else's farewell game for the Eagles has been against Adelaide. I remember that I was watching on Mayo driving from Geraldton. Wow. I prefer to watch mine on HP Source. Don't leave. Don't leave me here. Good innings from David. Unfortunate to get caught there, but he needed to hit. Nick Nat did his ACL like a couple of games later. I was at work at Bunnings. This is after the gaff hit. It might have even been the next week. I could be wrong. Yeah, Nick Nat did his knee. I was at work and all the boys who supported West Coast were like, did you hear about Nick Nat? He's done his ACL. And we were just like, surely not. The Eagles will bid for taking Curtin. I don't know if he's... depends how high our pick is. I don't think he's going to be in the top handful of selections. Bidding on him at pick 1 would be brave. They'd probably just let us keep him. Yeah. Lions 2010 at Subi, absolutely. Oh, another shout out for a good win was 2011 Geelong at Subiaco. That was kind of... we'd gone through that run where we'd beaten some good teams. We'd beaten Carlton. We challenged Collingwood to some... maybe we didn't. Actually, maybe Collingwood trounced us. But we were still kind of validating ourselves against the league, having been wooden spooners the year before. And then we played Geelong at Optus. It might have been the following week to Carlton, now I think about it. And we won by 16 points, I reckon. That was special. Crowd just erupted at the siren. That was a good memory. Nick did his knee in 2018. Yeah, so I'm referring to Gaff punching Brayshaw and Collingwood. Nick's knee were only a few weeks apart. So if Collingwood was round 17, I'm pretty sure Gaff might have hit Brayshaw in round 18. So they probably were back-to-back. I could be wrong. Do you think we weren't flexible enough regarding trade of pick 1? No. I think 2, 15 and 17... I think O'Brien said it was 3, 15 and 17 for 23 and 1. I wouldn't have done that deal. We needed something a little bit better than that. Lions 2010 Subi was my first footy memory as well. Cried the whole way home. Oh, you poor devil. 2021 against Cats at Optus. Ooh. I remember that 2020 game against the Cats at Optus. What was the 2021 game at Optus? Unless you're confusing the year, or maybe I am. I think you're thinking of 2020, in which case I'd agree with you. That was a good win. JK kicked a snap to win the game late. I don't think we played them at Optus in 2020. Round 21? I'm sure you're right, Niasha. Maybe I just got the weeks wrong. I swear there was another game in the 90s or early 2000s where Sydney scored 200 points against us. Yes, there was. I only know that because I remember being in a library in primary school and there was an old Eagles book and I saw a score of I don't remember what it was. It was it was in the 200s against us. And I was like, what the hell? Sydney would never score 200 against us now. Fuck. Let's say North somehow got that pick 6 or 8 via trade. How much would you aim 2 and 6 and maybe 18? 2, 6 and 18 would have done it for me. 2 and 6 on its own might have done it for me, to be honest. 2, 6 and 18 and even maybe 1 and 23. I reckon that's probably the threshold at which we do it. The Gold Coast draw was shocking. Oh, yeah. I'm trying to remember it. I know that there was a draw. That was at Metricon, yes. Was that 2015? 2015. Was it Lynch kicked a goal after the siren? 201 against West Coast. They scored 236 the following week. There you go, Darth. Wade's at the crease for anyone watching the cricket. Oh, I thought he got out. My bad. I'm going to take one more final leak. Bear with me. Throw some more games in the chat. Wasn't alive then, but the Sumich miss after the siren early days, yes, that was 1990. It was also before I was born. 1990 qualifying final, I reckon. Or equivalent of. And we played the replay and we got belted. I didn't know that because my parents had a 1990 West Coast Eagles season VHS cassette. And ironically, Eddie McGuire was the narrator. Been a terrible T20 game. It kind of has, I suppose. I think there's still a chance we get it close. We're not going to win, but West Coast worst final loss. Prittis and Mitchell's final game against GWS, we got slapped. In terms of heartbreak, you know what? No, the Bulldogs won in 2016 felt like the worst at the time. Obviously, when they won the flag, it was a little bit, validated. Collingwood in 2020 sucked. He's out. Another wicket. Worst finals losses. 2007, we drew with Collingwood, and another drawn final. Straight sets. And the week before that against Port, Cousins tears his hammy off the bones. The last game he ever plays for West Coast. I think Kerr gets injured too. Judd's last game for the Eagles. Awful. Club fell apart in that fortnight. 2015 grand finals up there for sure. Trying to remember other bad Eagles losses in finals. I think those are the worst ones. Generally, there's some elimination finals where we've lost as the underdog or semis. Have we ever lost a prelim? I don't think we've ever lost a prelim. Oh, that's not true. 2011, we lost it for a prelim, but yeah, who cares? And anything before 2002, I don't know. Favourite obscure Eagle or AFL player? Rowan Jones is Darth Jar Jar's shout for underrated Eagles player, probably, yeah. Obscure, though. Damien Adkins, I was a fan of him. Troy Wilson and Ben McKinley. These are all players I kind of really liked. Murray Newman. Sampy's not obscure, is he? He was a gun. I just remember names like David Haynes, Kane Munro, Chad Morrison, Callum Chambers. I remember liking these players. But like when you're a kid you don't really have a concept of like who's good and who's not. You just think like, Callum Chambers is replacing Ben Cousins in the lineup this week. Will stay the same level of quality. It was legitimately what it felt like as a like 8-year-old. Judd's missing, but we got Andrew Williams. I don't think they actually played at the same time. Oh wow, direct hit, is it? Yeah, game's faded. Josh Smith. Oh yeah, Josh Smith. Obscure. Nice, good call. That's a really good call. Because that one's modern and I'd forgotten he existed. Nick Reed, Metropolis, Wooden. Yeah, good call, Mitchell. Or Josh Wooden. Ashley Hansen, yes, but he's a premiership player. Casey Green. I want to look up the 2005 grand final lineups because I remember seeing so many spuds in that team. Like, I want to say Travis Gaspar, Casey Green. I don't know if they're spuds, but where's the lineups here? Staker didn't play in the 2016, did he? I think Staker didn't play that year. But Casey Green's in that team. Was Mark Seavey a premiership player? I need to look this up. Michael Gardner's in that team. No, that's not as weak as I remembered it being. But Casey Green in the forward pocket. Was he a halfback flank? Did West Coast ever lose to Fremantle in a final? No, we haven't played. Lewis Broom's a great shout, Sammy. Great shout. I remember that preseason game with he and Ryan Neitz. That's right. I really thought those guys were destined for big things. I'm just trying to look. I've almost started to... It's faded in my memory who the exact players on the team were in 2006. Yeah, I remember all of those. But I'm just looking for more who's not there. So Brent Staker's not there. Sampy didn't play. I knew that. Stephen Armstrong, like that goal he kicked in that grand final, will forever etch him into West Coast Eagles folklore. Dalziel. I remember when we recruited Dalziel, I was like, yeah, what a bargain, pick 22. We flipped it for pick 22 for CB. And I remember thinking he was going to be a gun. And then he was just like hated on by Eagles fans for years. Wally Matera, before my time. Yeah, Ashton Hams was actually alright. He was a good player. I think that 3 or 4 might have been against Geelong away. I reckon the last game of 2010, I remember he played really well, and that was a loss to Geelong. At GMHPA. Philip Reed's a good shout. One of my best mates' stepdad, Steve Armstrong. Oh, there you go. He was... his dad, Ken Armstrong, was a bit of a Perth Demons legend. Fraser Gehrig, yeah. So I never knew that Fraser Gehrig... Well, I mean, when I was a kid, I didn't know that Fraser Gehrig played for the Eagles for ages. Like, because he was at St Kilda and he was like Was he back-to-back Coleman medalist? I reckon dual Coleman at the very least. And then Dad was like, yeah, he used to play for the Eagles. I was like, what? And Dad was like, yeah, he's useless. And I look it up and he was an All-Australian defender for West Coast. I'm pretty sure that's true anyway. What a gun, Fraser Gehrig. Josh Hill, yeah. I mean, not too obscure. I don't know. Maybe it's just I followed him so closely. I felt like Josh Hill transcended obscure. Chad Morrison, yes. Seven for 150. This game has faded badly. Watching him at the Wacker, the G train was huge. Yeah. He's a huge unit. Shane Bond. That's right. I mean, before my time, but I was aware of him. Trading Gehrig was one of the dumbest things we ever did. Yeah, did we... Like, what was the deal with that? Because he's Victorian, right? I'm pretty sure he's Victorian. Let's look it up. So maybe he just wanted to go home. Mark Hutchings underrated. It's probably a fair call. Good tagger on his day. Where is Yeah, he's from Wodonga, Victoria. And I presume drafted. So he was West Coast leading goal kicker in 1998. He was All-Australian team in 1997. So I need to look up this 1997 All-Australian team to confirm if there's a defender. No, it was as a forward. I was wrong. Did he play as a defender though? Who knows? I actually really liked Wellingham. I didn't want us to get him, and then as soon as we traded for him, I was like, yeah, he's one of my faves now. I just thought he was cool as hell and a good player. Hutchings' tag on side bottom in the grand final is not spoken enough. I agree. Gehrig never got the full forward spot because of the big queue. How ironic is that? So he wasn't able to get off the chain, but he still kicked 2 or 3 a game. Are you sure? I thought Quinton Lynch came after Gehrig. That timeline seems off, but I'm not sure. The name though, Sharad. Yeah, it's like I don't know if this is true, but I heard that his parents are Sharon and Jared. I could be wrong. That could be just like a joke. Someone said. But I do have this theory that Brian Myers has 2 parents called Greg and Brian. Oh yeah, another wicket. There you go. Matt Rosa. Yeah, again, probably transcends obscure. Like he played in the grand final as the sub, admittedly. How many goals would Fraser Gehrig kick if he played forward his whole career? Yeah, so I'm not too sure. Did he play back? Like that's obviously something I had told myself. Oh, okay. So he started at West Coast as a utility and on the wing. So then he did win it as a forward, the All-Australian jumper. Okay, no, he did play fullback in his first year at St Kilda, and then became a leading goal kicker again. Yeah, weird. Schofield on to go 2018. Yeah, great call. Yeah, I don't know if the Sharon and Jared thing is real. I don't know if somebody said that as a joke or if I've remembered it wrong, but someone told me that. Mitchell White, again before my time. Lewis Jetta, yes. Again, premiership hero though. That goal he kicked in that qualifying final will live long in the memory. And the year before against Adelaide to get us into the finals. Oh, that's one we missed as one of the best home and away wins ever. Whew. When you consider that was 1 week before Shuey's goal. West Coast did have Scott Cummings. He won the Coleman for us in, I think, 1999. Archie, yes. I liked Archie, actually. Good little role player there during that good patch we had. Not patch, that's disrespectful. But good period we had. He was there in He was there in 2018, wasn't he? Yeah, recruited end of 17. I think he was there in 18 and 19. I don't remember if he was there in 2020. So it's 8 for 153 for anyone interested in the results. Sam says, Francis Watson's a great call. Did he debut? I remember he played pre-season games. Did he actually debut? Yeah, that was a random one. Which Eagle had the biggest leap for me is Hoff. Yeah, great call on Hoff. I would agree with that. And Bailey Williams. And to some extent, Waterman a little bit. In terms of players improving for the first time, I mean, Cripps came back into some career best form. Seriously underrated. Seriously good. Cripps is low-key actually one of my faves. That's kind of snuck up on me. I do love the kid. He's a year older than me. Yeah, Hoff's probably the clear choice. Jermaine Jones, that's probably been more over 2 years, hasn't it? His improvement. I think. Yeah, I think 2022 he became good. So Jermaine Jones probably over 2 years. But Baz and Big Bad Bustling Bailey and Brady. Played 2 games, debuted in Alice Springs in 2020. There you go. Thank you. God, you're good. I remember watching him running around an Eagles jumper. I just can't remember if it was pre-season. Oh, Sam, sorry. You did say makes. I assumed you meant 2023. That was my bad. So I answered the question. Hoff... Well, so further to that, I think Hoff did come a long way this year, like some of his performances. So maybe he takes another leap, yeah. I think we'll see a big improvement from Chesser to some degree. It won't necessarily be like entrenched best 22 player by the end of the year, but I think the improvement we saw over the course of 2023 should translate into looking even better in 2024. I think Jinby has that potential to win 20 touches a game, more than 20 touches a game. One thing I'll notice is Noah Long's body's changed already. Like, they've just come back from their time off, and Noah Long's like physique looks clearly different. A bit less. Well, I mean, he didn't have any puppy fat as such, but he's just like muscular now. Like, he's got little bumps all over his body. You can see a big physical difference in him. Yeah, it's a fair point, Mitch. Hewitt will be a gun. I don't know if his tank will be ready to be a prominent midfielder for a couple of years yet. Yeah, Gilby joined the Beagles. I did see that, Sammy. Good result. I mean, if he has a good year in our waffle side, maybe we rookie list him or something following year. Or mid-season draft. I have no idea if he's any good. I remember his name from the draft, but that's it. Who else could make a leap this year? I mean, Jack Williams had a pretty damn good year this year. For starting the year by rupturing his spleen and then playing like, I don't know how many games he played, half a dozen in the second half of the year. Pretty good effort. And I feel like he was contributing quite well and improved, but great delivery. Another week here. He improved quite a lot, but I felt like there were games right at the end where he just looked so fatigued. He wasn't playing well. Yeah, the rig on Jimby is huge. Like, we have some thick boys in that midfield now. Like, Chess is a big boy too. This is lemon and lime. Darthy? Yeah, okay, so Cully's huge for a start. And then there's Jinby, Hewitt, Reed now, and Chesser. Some big bodacious booties. I don't know why I had to say it like that. Yeah. I suppose this T20 series does have some relevance in like giving some guys exposure for the World Cup next year. I think Sanga's played well. What was his figures? 34 in the end. Not amazing. But for his first 3 overs were good. Williams needs a proper preseason. Yeah, exactly. That's true. Like, when you consider what he did this year off no preseason, it's a credit to him. So you extrapolate that and you think, could be, I mean, we've recruited Flynn, but like, if he had to come in and play second ruck again at 198 centimetres, like, you'd think he'd be better for it. I think the Eagles are going in. Trend of taller mids, yeah. Whether that's by design or if that's just who the best available players were. You know, Cully was a clear number 1 pick. Jinby was the clear WA talent we were going to go for. Hewitt to some extent too. He's not super tall, Hewitt. He's 186. But the game is naturally moving that way. So it's entirely possible that is by design. As we were talking about earlier, These 2 meter midfielders are not far away. Like they're getting drafted next year. Who wins if a whole team has a scrap? Immediately think of Jinbi. Be tough to beat McGovern. I would hate to get into a fight with McGovern. Yeah, I'd imagine Flynn. Like, you go to the biggest boys on the list. Mitch Owens will win the Brownlow one day. Big call. I do love him, though. He's a good player. Does he become a midfielder? Is he kind of more of a forward? I'm not really sure. Darthy says, I'm worried about key back stocks. Govers 30, Brass 28. Edwards keeps getting injured. Bazo's young. Rotherham fighting for a contract. I wouldn't even include Rotherham as a key back. I think they've given up on that. And rightfully so. I don't think he is a key back anyway. But yeah, desperate. Like this will be his last year for the West Coast, I think, personally. Cully looks like country strong. Fair point. Big boy too. He's not much shorter than McGovern. Only 2 centimetres. Oh, Elliot Yeo. The guy's crazy. He's got crazy eyes. But to agree with your point, Darthy, I think we definitely need to draft a key back. And I think, with Curtin there, perhaps that was what their thinking was. Should we get Buslinger next year not signed? Yeah, I mean, he's only 1 year out. So I just don't think him not being signed is a sign that he's about to leave. But I would do it. If we split pick, say, 1 for like, I don't know. What would it cost? We need to split it for something good and get like 5 and a late first and trade a late first. I don't think we get offered the 5 and a late first. Maybe we would. I don't know. Who wins if all the full backs fight? Or if they all fight the full forwards? Dixon, Luke Ryan. Luke Ryan's pretty small though, eh? He's like 6'1". Dixon. Who is Dixon? Is my brain failing me? Unless there's something that I can't see in that message. Dixon, Luke, Ryan. Who is Dixon? I'm having a moment, probably. West Coast should get Callum Wilkie. I don't think Callum Wilkie would come to play for the Eagles in this sorry state. Yeah, I mean, Mitch, I think we offered everything that was feasible. Oh, Charlie Dixon. Thank you. I knew that as I was saying it. I was like, it sounds familiar, but I'm not placing it. Of course, I know Charlie Dixon. But answer Mitchell first. Losing Curtin is hurt. I think we offered as much as we could. Future first round picks, very generous. It's just that GWS wanted Gothard, as evidenced by their video they put up on their YouTube channel. They explained why they didn't go for it. I don't think there's anything else we could have done. Short of trading that future first for Adelaide. But obviously I wouldn't have gone for it. Oh, is that what happened to Sheed's throat? Was that Yo, was it? Denver Granger Barras, I think he's gettable, but I don't think he's playing very well. I think he's playing as a forward for Hawthorn, or being trained as a forward. Oh yeah, Lily. Oh yeah, I would give up pick 1 for Nick Dacos. I think I was thinking this. Like, it's probably a video I'll do soon. Like, which players in the league have the highest trade value? So it factors in a number of considerations, but mostly age and like quality to age ratio, right? Dacos is probably number 1 on the list. In which case, he'd probably cost, I'd say, 2 top 5 picks and probably 1 in the top 2. So like pick 2 and pick 5 would be the going rate for Nick Dacos, I think. Pick 1 on its own, like that wouldn't be a good enough deal, I don't think. If we lived in this hypothetical world where clubs would just trade players because they get a good enough offer, it doesn't really work like that. That's a steep price, Sam. I think it was Yoa Hewitt. There you go. I wouldn't have thought first years trained separately because that wasn't in the middle of the season. I would have thought they would train. Tom Green, Errol Goulden. Yeah. Good shouts. Yeah. Dacos is in there. Dacos is number one. I mean, highest trade value, you'd probably go Bond as well. You include the best players in the comp that are still like this side of 27. Or on your side of 27 for some of you. So Petrarca in that. Charlie Curnow. Dacos is up there. Sheasel would probably be up there. Will Ashcroft. Yeah, Logan McDonald coming back to Perth in a year would be great. I would definitely give up. Well, would I give up the number one pick for him? Maybe. We just drafted Archer Reed. I mean, no, he's not as good as Logan McDonald, obviously. But it would be kind of weird to like trade pick one having just drafted a key forward. I think that would be a little odd. Ooh, good shot by Wade. Trying to get within a respectable total. Toby Green, yes and no, because he is 30. Same age as me, which is young. But that's what would work against Toby Green's trade value. So if Toby Green was going to get traded at the end of 2024, having just turned 31, like he wouldn't fetch the top 5 pick, I don't think. I feel like we can't beat Freo for Logan. I got no idea. We have 12 months to prove that we have something special brewing. On current form, it's hard to imagine Logan thinks he wants to come to West Coast, but if we develop... If we're competitive this year, win a bunch of games at home, finish 12th or 13th, then I could see him thinking, okay, I'll join this club. But I generally agree, yeah. Should clubs trade players live on draft night? Yeah, but that will never happen because the players won't go for that. The players have the say. I'm more excited for Clay Hall. Really? Don't know if I would go as far as the Army's excited, but I'm bullish on him. I feel like he is a good, like, middle tier of our midfield player. Like, we've got the big weapons in Jinby, Hewitt, and Reid, and Clay Hall will just be the Mr. Consistent, is what I'm expecting. So I do see him playing a long AFL career. And at pick 38, you don't normally have that confidence. But who are Freo paying? They must have a gajillion dollars. Yes and no. We are going to have some money of our own. Like a Tim English offer notwithstanding, we got our own retirements, and Freo's got Luke Jackson, and I don't know where exactly Brayshaw and Sarong's contracts sit, but then Brennan Cox just signed a 7-year deal or something like that. So in theory, like, we'll be trending in the right direction, and we can back end it anyway. So, great shot, Wade. Very flat 6. I feel if clubs want pick one, they need to offer a player, not just picks. Do you mean in general, or do you mean as a West Coast perspective, we need players, not just picks? Interesting. I mean, there's only a handful of players that I would really consider trading pick 1 for, even if it's like a package, like a player and pick 12 or something like that. It would need to be a pretty top talent and under 24. So Logan McDonald's probably in that conversation. Not saying I'd lock it in. Pick 1 on its own for Logan McDonald does seem steep, but I would consider it. Backending is important, that's true. I'd be very interested in what Sarong wants to do at the end of contract. So when does his contract end? Freo need to... I mean, he seems like the loyal type, but they do need to sell a future to him and others. Hayden Young is another one. In general, says Darth. Yeah. I mean, I would have done it for 2 and 3 or 2 and 6 this year. Oof. Wade's having a bit of fun at the end of this innings. AFL should be like the movie Moneyball. In which way? As in trading players without them having to consent? Who is someone out of left field the Eagles should target? That's a good question. I saw a good analysis on Big Footy by this guy who's a bit of a genius. And he worked out like all the stats the Eagles lack in. And the player that he spat out as the most suited to us would be Harry Perryman. I don't know much about, to be honest. Like, I don't watch him that much. I believe we're into Starcevic. I've heard that through the grapevine. Doesn't mean it'll happen, but the Eagles have tried. And are ongoing. That effort is ongoing. Will Powell, I mean, there's a WA talent, so maybe they're not obscure. But Will Powell or Starcevic would be hot. I wouldn't trade Oscar Allen for a top 10 pick, no, Lily. Wouldn't trade him at all. But if we had to set what his value would be to us, out of contract, we want a top 5 pick, I'd say. When you consider what Lockie Weller went for. But if somebody offered me pick 1 tomorrow for Oscar Allen, I'd say no. Ooh. Trying to think of other targets the Eagles could go for outside of the obvious ones. Sam Powell-Pepper, if he was younger. Yeah, so if Powell-Pepper came over as a free agent, I think I would do that. When is he? He must be free agency this year. Let's have a look. Unless he signed a new deal. Yeah, he's signed a new deal, so he's not out of contract this year. Let's find out when he's out of contract. Kicked 31 goals this year. That's better than I expected. He is out of contract end of 2025, and he will be a restricted free agent. So 2 years from now, Powell-Pepper maybe, but then he will be 27. I'd probably do it as a free agent specifically. Agreed. Yeah, let's not talk about Allen anymore. Oof. Wide full toss. Is that just dispatch for 6? Very good hit. This is the last over. I didn't realise that. I'm gas bagging away. So, yeah, bit of a cricketing lesson tonight. Not our best effort, but Matthew Wade has ensured we got a lot closer than we expected at one point. Todd Marshall, Lily reckons. I mean, I wouldn't say for West Coast. He's a good player, though. I think he's out of contract. I think I included him in my list of players that could get traded. Oh, cops one to the knackers, Matthew Wade. 2 late 6s here would be nice. Get a 23 ball 50, that would be huge. We should be chasing his current days over else. I'm kind of glad we didn't get Dev in the end. I don't think that one was strictly necessary. I wonder if we'd gotten Dev, would we have drafted Clay Hall? Probably rather Clay Hall, to be completely honest. And that's probably the pick we would have traded to get him. One ball to go, guys. Thank you very much for joining in this little fun stream. I know the time zone's not great. I might do this again. There's 5 of these games, and this is the second one. We're 2-0 down now. Final ball of the innings coming up. Wangadeen Miller is a good shout. He's a good player. That's a great fit for us. I don't think it's going to happen as Wade hits the 4 to finish the innings. I don't think Wangadeen Miller is realistic for West Coast, but that is absolutely the sort of player that we probably could look at. Jamison, Williams, and Barnett will walk. Well, to answer your question, as the game ends, and I'll close that. So Barnett's got time. Barnett will be years away from really needing a spot, and by then it's kind of up to him if he can outwork Matthew Flynn for that spot in 2 years. And I think it's more likely than not. Jamison, I think he's going to struggle to get a game. I don't know if he's a long-term one. He might just have to settle for being depth, but I'll be surprised if he gets another contract. I think with the way we've recruited recently, especially if we get Tim English, he's on the outer. Jack Williams was a late speculative pick. I don't know what his own expectations are, but so far so good with him. He's going to have to compete with probably Archer Reed later on, and he's probably competing with Waterman at the moment. Well, is he though? Actually, no. Bailey Williams probably takes his spot now. So it's Flynn, and then Williams misses out. I think in a fully fit team, Williams wasn't really in line for round 1 next year, personally. And now I still think that. So I think he's going to be back up, and he might just go back and dominate the waffle and earn his spot that way. We'll see. He'll get his opportunities. We could have had Miller, but we chose Chesser. I think Miller went before, didn't he? Did Miller not go before? Didn't he go like pick 11 and we had 12 and traded back? Yeah, we traded back for 14 and then it went Sid, Hobbs, and then Chesser. So I don't think we ever had access to Wanganeen Miller. Jamison at defence, I have no idea if that would work. He debuted in defence, didn't play well, wasn't ready. But if he becomes a key defender, that's probably arguably a better avenue for him back into the team. If West Coast didn't get Tim English, should they draft a ruckman? No, we've got 4 on the list for now, so I'm happy with the 4. Flynn and Williams in the team, and then outside the team, you've got Jamison and Barnett, and then a couple of forward rucks in Jack Williams and now Archer Reed, I guess. But anyway, guys, I will leave it there. It has been a fun stream. Thank you so much. It has been going for nearly 4 hours now, and this was good fun. I appreciate you joining in. I enjoyed all the Eagles talk. And yeah, you guys were fantastic. So thank you very much. I will see you. I'm probably going to do 2 videos for tomorrow. And then I will decide closer to the time whether I do another livey in this T20 series. But I'm thinking Big Bash streams will be a thing. So thank you very much, guys. And I will see you in the next video. Cheers. As I wait for the button to press.